Yo, what is up, everybody? This is the next edition of the Camp Report with
Yes, sir.
myself and special guest Skywalker Steele from Dallas Cowboys Universe. What's going on, Sky?
What's going on, Joe Rod? I'm happy to be here, man. It's the first time being on your show, brother. I'm excited.
Yeah, likewise. We're talking offline and talking about how all of us have a lot going on schedule wise, so it's really a great time to be a Cowboys fan and a fan of our channel. So, man, we're about to drop some great information on you guys. We'll talk about the camp updates, and then we'll follow up here with comments and questions, and we'll answer them as they come through the chat box.
Yes, sir.
All right, Scott. So, man, just a lot of things going on here. This is serious.
This is serious. I love when we do that, man.
Got more time, baby. You guys know how we do it here. Shout out to everybody in the chat box immediately. Appreciate all you guys and everybody that hops on here while we get this going. So, man, let's not waste any time here. Let's get right into the topics of the day coming out of camp and around the Cowboys web sphere. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about obviously is the cap situation here with Tyron Smith. Sky, and this is coming from Michael Gelkin. Cowboys moving money around. Teams can carry unused cap space into the next league year. So this creation of 2020 cap room should benefit Dallas in 2021 when it navigates a salary cap that, because of COVID-19, will be lower than initially projected. All right. So, and he's kind of following up on what Calvin Watkins is talking about, opening up the money and this and that. Cowboys always looking to upgrade the roster in case something happens. So what's your initial take here on the cap movement here on Tyron Smith, Sky?
Well, at first, I was talking to some people behind the scenes, my guy, Cowboys Network, we were chatting up and Stevie Mack. I was thinking, maybe they're looking to make a move. Maybe they're looking to make a move. Gerald McCoy is gone, right? There's still Snacks Harrison out there. There's still a Logan Ryan out there. One thing that this staff has not been scared to do is bring in proven veterans. So initially, I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's something there. But you also have to be, you have to keep your head straight and also think that, yeah, the cap is going to go down next year, right? You do got Dak Prescott that you got to sign next year. I don't think Dallas is in cap hell, right? We're not in cap trouble. Yeah. So I think we have the space, regardless of making this move or not, next year to sign Dak. But if Dak snaps, you're going to need extra money. So, I'm thinking that, this is a precautionary move for injuries, or if they want to sign somebody in the middle of the season, or if they do want to go out and get a veteran right now, they can do it. Because I don't believe we had a ton of cap space, correct me if I'm wrong, prior to this move.
Yeah, this definitely does give them flexibility. They can go at this whatever they want. It's do they go get a person, like you said, or do they, just move that into 2021? So I think it's an interesting thing. You definitely want to protect your roster from injury and, COVID. Some of these guys, you do have to come back if you test positive 14 days, but you still got to pass the protocol. So it's not 100% guarantee that if somebody gets COVID IR that they come back after the 14 days. They may test positive for a couple of days. We've seen some of this happen around other teams where they keep failing the test and they haven't been able to come back. So we'll see what happens there, Sky, but definitely something to look at.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If they do decide to use it on a player, who do you think, or who do you want?
So, for me, looking at this roster where we're at, I'm looking at some depth. I'm looking at a little bit more of a legit offensive tackle for my money. I'm not sold on Cam Irvin. He hasn't even made the field. I think he barely got in to some court work, here just recently. But I'm not even a big fan of him. And then, of course, Brandon Knight, do you trust him? Tyron Smith's dealing with the hamstring now. So for me, I'm thinking more offensive line. I think that's where it's kind of showing right now, where we're hurting right there, especially in camp with the pressure that Prescott's having to endure with these guys.
I'm with you, man. Well, I'm afraid if Tyron goes down this year. In previous years, we've had decent, swing tackles, but I'm not feeling the Cam Irvin thing right now. Not feeling it.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this tweet here from Todd Archer. I think this is an interesting comment because, right off the bat, you have this news about the restructure, and then here comes Todd Archer with a little bit of a wet blanket. Okay. Please stop. Don't connect with what the Cowboys did with Tyron Smith to restructure to Clowney or Earl Thomas. It's not that. It's about 2021 cap space more than anything else. What's your thought on that comment there? A little bit of a wet blanket from Archer, Sky.
Well, me, I wasn't thinking that big. I wasn't thinking Clowney, and then the Earl Thomas stuff came out this morning or afternoon, which is crazy. I don't know if we're going to touch on that later. But yeah, I wasn't really thinking they were making a move from one of those guys, because Clowney is going to be your edge rusher. We got, Alden Smith, you got Everson Griffin, likely going to get Randy Gregory back. Where is Clowney going to fit? Granted, he's a great player, right? He's a really good player, but that's a little bit overkill at that position. I was thinking more like a snacks or a swing tackle, a high priority swing tackle, maybe a safety, right? We don't have too much depth at safety, but and speaking of safety, Earl Thomas, I'm not really looking at it at Earl Thomas right now. That's a whole nother situation going on.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk about that. But yeah, I agree with you, man. Looking at defensive tackle, I think, obviously you lose McCoy. And Snacks Harrison, obviously he's not a 3-tech per se, but you can still have him in that mix. Some people are quick to say, he's not a 3-tech, he's a 1-tech, but still, man, keep that pressure coming. And with some of these guys have the versatility to bounce inside to a 3-tech, so you can still use a Snack Harrison there. So
sure, man. I love what we're hearing about Hill and everything, but if you bring in Snacks and you tell me, hey, we're going to slide Poe over there a little bit on first and second downs, who's mad? Who's mad at Poe and Snacks on the first and second downs?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, first and second down. There's a use for him, and the way that they're talking about being a hybrid defense.
Yep.
That fits right into what the Cowboys are doing. So I wouldn't discount, a player like that, and I wouldn't even discount maybe even trading for a similar player with a later round pick. We talk about the Cowboys do have that draft capital coming in for 2021. Kind of gives them a little bit of leeway if they want to do something here at the end of camp or during the season. So something to watch for sure.
Indeed.
Let's take a look at here at Lock on 4. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into this whole. Is there a possibility for Earl Thomas? Do you want him? Let's take a look at this note here from Jason Lock on 4. Let's check this out. So he goes on to say, the Ravens situation with Earl Thomas should come to a head today. Sources said the team's leadership council made it clear to decision makers they would prefer Thomas not to be around. Cap hit could be issued, but conduct detrimental clause provides potential avenue for relief. Sky. So pretty big statement there.
It ain't looking good for Earl.
It's not looking good. He had the situation earlier in the offseason with what was it? He had some kind of domestic issue, right? Yeah. With that other one.
Oh, his brother and his brother and him was doing something. His wife came in on it. It was nuts. It was nutty.
Yeah, it was something crazy. So the team's already kind of like, were able to get away from that bad publicity. Yeah. And now here comes this thing here with teammates. And so coming to a head. So could he be a free agent? I mean, that's the conversation. That's what Cowboys fans are talking about, Sky.
I don't like it. I mean, it really sounds like he's going to get cut. When you got the leadership council coming to the front office saying, we don't want this man, that's a problem. Yeah. Because you got a team that was 13-3 last year on the cusp of getting to the AFC Championship game or what have you. They're in a good spot right now. They have a really good team. I don't know if Earl Thomas is going to be the game changer for him. I mean, we've seen Earl Thomas in the playoffs get turned around and spun around against Derrick Henry. Did you see that last year, man? He was going at Derrick Henry.
Yeah, man, that was not a good look there.
No, it wasn't a good look. But, do I want him in Dallas? So funny. He asked me this 2 years ago. Without doubt, without question, I'm saying yes. But this has not been a good offseason for him. And when you hear things like this, locker room issues, right? He's had trouble and fights and getting into stuff with leaders on that team. And then when the team wants to kick you out, the players want to kick you out, the leaders, the captains, that's a bad look, man. And I think our locker room is pretty solid. I think we got a pretty solid locker room. And I don't know if I want to mess that up. I love Earl Thomas, the player, but I don't know about the person in the locker room.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the important hires that Mike McCarthy brought on here was his assistant. He's got the assistant head coach was Rob Davis. Rob Davis, more of that building that locker room, right? He wants to have a good pH balance, if you will, in that locker room. So Rob Davis being in there, he's probably analyzing this. Maybe they're already talking about this, right? And maybe it's like, I don't know about this, man, if he becomes a free agent. But you never know.
Right.
You never know. Let's look at something Jane Slater follows up a little bit with this topic here. And, we can always count on Jane for some of the best content out there. I trust her word. Cowboys fans, I know what you're thinking on this Earl Thomas stuff. From a team source, haven't even discussed it. But I'll be honest, they have been more aggressive here lately. So it was definitely worth checking. So I think that's a really good topic there from Jane Slater, talking about the team sources that haven't even discussed it, Sky.
Yeah, it's hard to, because you can't really say anything because of the whole tampering, right? You can't say too much. But inside you do kind of have a whisper, like, okay, if this guy gets released, we'll look at him, or this guy we want to trade, but they can't publicly say anything. They can only talk through the sources, right? But I get it though. I get it, and why it's difficult, why it may have not been discussed, because Earl just has so much going on around him right now. Is this do you think this is an Antonio Bryant type of situation right now?
Man, this does happen to some of these guys towards the end of their careers too. How much does he even have in the gas tank? And we'll take a look at that here in a minute. But yeah, you definitely don't want to, sway the balance of that locker room. I think that's a very important piece of building a championship.
Oh yeah,
team. You gotta have everything clicking. You can't have these crazy distractions and people. You can't have a malcontent. I'm not saying that he is. We saw that he had really good success with Seattle, but maybe it just wasn't a good fit with Baltimore.
I mean, I think in the locker room it wasn't. On the field, he still was a good player. He was a really good player, but apparently that locker room ain't feeling him. I mean, when you argue with Brandon Williams, think about this for a second. You gotta have some balls to argue with like a 6'3", 350-pound, behemoth of a man, right? So we know Earl got the balls, but I don't know if he's smart up here and able to not just get along with his teammates, but show leadership, which is weird, because after the Seattle thing, we thought Earl could have came here and been a leader, right? But it not sound like he was a leader over there. They said he wasn't coming to meetings. He was skipping out on things. I think he came in there like, I'm an all-pro. I'm a future Hall of Famer. I'm a Super Bowl champion. I'm going to do what I want to do. And those guys ain't with it.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a little bit, you're starting to get a little bit more of a red flag, even if you were to become a free agent, because you even go back to the Seattle towards the end there, meeting up with Jason Garrett, just, throwing that in the face of the Seattle fans, like, hey, come get me. That was the whole thing with him. So a little bit disrespectful. We know he wanted to get out of there. So is
finger against the Cardinals?
Yeah, the finger on the way out, right? So
wow.
So it's getting a little bit of a track record here. But statistically speaking, Sky, let's take a look at his stats. Like, is he still producing? Let's take a look at his numbers here, Sky. This is a little bit of a tell as far as does he still have gas in the tank? Is he a player worth even bringing in here? So looking at the stats here, the ProFootballReference.com came into the league at 21 years old. With Seattle for 9 years, 9 seasons, and the 1 year here with Baltimore so far at strong safety, apparently. But you look at the stats, and pretty durable here for the first good part of his career, right? 16 games, 16, and then you start to see it kind of tailing off here.
Yeah,
2016 and on. Some injuries, didn't play much here, but still tackling. Doing pretty good, pretty decent amount of interceptions, I guess you could say. But what's your thoughts on, do you think he would still have gas in the tank? Can he still be productive for a defense?
Yeah, I definitely think he still could be productive for somebody. I mean, it's going to depend on the type of defense he goes to. I think he's the type of player, though, that can play in any defense. He's that good. He's that heady. He has a high football IQ. His range is all time. Like Earl Thomas's range at free safety in his prime at the very least. I mean, it's funny. He's only 30. Like that's not super old for a player. He's only 30, probably going to be 31 going into this season or sometime in this season. So I think he's definitely still a good player, just like I think Antonio Brown is still a good player. But you can be a good player all you want. if you're going to be a locker room problem like this, it's going to be tough for you to get signed. Now, I think he'd get signed though, Joe. I really think somebody would sign him.
Yeah, I think he would get signed for sure. Yeah, 30 years old is not over the hill per se. Playing at free safety most of his career, you're not really, putting your body in too much of a harm's way per se. But we've seen these high-end upper echelon safeties be productive. We'll take a look at this here. I wanted to take a look, kind of compare a little bit of the numbers here. Looking at like a Ed Reed, right? Let's take a look at Ed Reed's numbers here. He retired here a couple of seasons ago, but if you look at these numbers, hold on, let me see.
Shoot, Eric Weddle, he played for the same team for a while.
Yeah, Eric Weddle. So I mean, Ed Reed, out of the U, came in as an older safety, right? 24 years old.
That is old, yeah.
Baltimore, strong safety for the first part, free safety. But look at these crazy, insane numbers. Ed Reed, Hall of Famer all the way in my book. Right. I mean, 8, 9, 7. This guy could play. I mean,
I had fun.
Yeah, he was fun to watch. But looking at his career here, 30 years old, he was still putting in the numbers. 9, 3. He really didn't fall off until he went to the Texans, and by then he was like, mid-30s. So that's to be expected. Mid-30s, yeah, you're going to see some fall off with any position in the league. Maybe not offensive line, but yeah. So
Ed's man. I don't want to compare, ET, because ET is probably going to be a Hall of Famer in his own right, but I don't think ET is going to ever be put up there with one of the best safeties ever in the sense of. Arguably, Ed Reed is arguably the greatest safety of all time. You throw around Ronnie Lott, Troy Polamalu's, those type of guys. Brian Dawkins. You can go way back, Night Train Lane and things like that. But Ed is in that discussion. I don't know that ET is in that discussion yet, but I see what you're saying though. The greats though, like ET and Ed and what have you, they can play well into their 30s. And he retired at 35. And we're in ET's 30. So he got years left if he can get his head straight. That's the one thing Ed Reed never had a problem with, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing that would probably concern teams right now is where's he at mentally? Because 30 years old, these guys that are on the upper echelon, they can keep going for a few more seasons. So for me, that's the biggest thing. Where's his head at?
Well, right now it ain't all the way there, fam. It is not all the way there. He got some issues he got to get together. Maybe it could be one of those things where he really wants to be in Dallas, and if he does come to Dallas, he'll get his damn act together. Like we like to say that on our channel. Get your damn act together. If he gets his act together in Dallas, then it could be a nice marriage because I think we're going to play a lot of coverage with our safeties, and I mean, HaHa and ET. Whew, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, and then there's nothing wrong with adding more talent to that secondary. So we'll see what happens, guys. It is something, that conversation that's going to keep going with the Cowboys until they finally get their guy. Derwin James, Buda Baker. Pick your guy for 2021. Who do you want to bring here? It's going to happen.
Listen, with this safety stuff, man, I have no idea what Dallas wants to do at that damn position, fam.
Yeah.
Because for so long, we've known for years it's a position of need, but we haven't put the necessary resources to it, free agency or the draft. So until I see it, Joe, then until I see it, I'll be happy about it. But before that, I don't know what the hell we're going to do at that point.
That's what I'm saying. It's been one that it's one of the longest drops as far as using a first rounder on taking a player. So you look at defensive tackle, safety position, and quarterback. Those three have been the ones that have had the longest drops for the Cowboys as far as using a first-round pick. So just think about that. And it seems like those three positions are positions that the fans have been talking about with the Cowboys for decades now, right? Safety, defensive tackle, your quarterback.
Man. What about this? I saw this floated out there.
Yeah.
Maybe Dallas is looking to, switch their philosophy. Well, really ain't switching it, but kind of, adapt their philosophy and build up front with some mercenaries, right? Some bigger names, some proven guys up front, and just kind of get by on the back end. That could be something they may be doing here, bringing Alden Smith, Everson Griffin, Poe, McCoy. They really built this front seven, and they're going with just okay guys in the back end. Is that something you don't mind seeing, or do you want to see them really address that safety position?
I think it's an interesting tactic. I think it's something that they're definitely, employing this season with Mike McCarthy, saying, "Hey, we got to do this." Tom Sula needs some of these different types of weapons. So bringing in Aldon Smith, I think, was genius. But yeah, if you look at 2019 versus 2020, it's a pretty big revamping. Demarcus Lawrence is really the most consistent player that we've seen on that side. But I wouldn't mind seeing that, Sky, because it gives your younger guys a little bit more time to get their feet under them, like Neville Gallimore, Tristan Hill, and I'm pretty sure that the defensive overhaul is not going to stop. They're going to probably draft some more players in there. So yeah, for sure, man. I wouldn't mind that, and that'll also have a domino effect on that young secondary. It'll give them a little bit time to acclimate as well. So I think it's a good strategy if that's what it is. I think it'll work for them.
Just speculation. If that, it seems like maybe this year that's what they're doing, but who knows if they're going to do that, years and years and years.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's see what we got here. And speaking of Tristan Hill, this comes from our boy Vach Lombardi. Shout out to him, and we'll talk about him here a little bit later in the discussion. But let's take a look at this here. What he points out, and when we're talking about Tristan Hill, so. Vach posted that he tweeted this out. Also, y'all may hate Tristan Hill and call him lazy. He showed up in better shape than Lyle Collins. So, Sky, this issue here, I think this was interesting to me. It kind of made me chuckle at the same time. I was like, oh, yeah, what is going on here, Sky? What is your thought here on where Tristan Hill is right now? Are you buying or are you selling? And what's going on with Lyle?
I'm buying on Tristan Hill. I've been one of the guys who said, I've been saying this for all off season. It is not a talent thing with Tristan. It wasn't a talent thing coming out of college. It was all between the ears and his work ethic. Does he want it? I've said this so much. Does he really want it? I won't know until, the games start, right? But everything we're hearing from the reports from Tom Sula, he just spoke on Tristan Hill, and he loves what he's seeing from Tristan. He said Tristan is coming in late at night. He's calling him. He's texting him. He's walking around with his iPad looking at film. He is constantly trying to get better and constantly working to improve himself. And we did not hear these things last year out of camp. We didn't hear it. And that showed on the field, and that showed with Rob Marinelli's patience. You got coaches on the lame duck year. They don't got time to baby you. If you're not ready as a rookie, then you're going to be in the doghouse. And that's where he was. I think he was inactive, 10 games, 9 games, something like that. So I'm buying it in the sense of his work ethic. Now we just have to see, does that translate onto the field, which if his head and his talent are lined up, Tristan could be a hit, y'all. He could be a hit.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You definitely like to see better news than last season. So that's definitely on the up and up right there. If you were to keep hearing that same conversation from 2019, the alarms would be going off like crazy right now.
I'm reading the comments. They're talking about Tristan Hill's interview. Did you see it?
I did see that, and let's talk about that interview, Sky. What was your take on it? I'll tell you mine. When I first saw it, I thought that he was a little bit annoyed by some of the questions. That was kind of the thing that kind of stood out to me a little bit. Some of his answers were short, and got a little bit of awkward silence. As one of the interviewers followed up on him, like, elaborate, tell me more, like, what is it? And then
some people are just not comfortable with interviews. Some people are just not comfortable talking in the public. Tristan Hill is kind of in the spotlight because of Gerald McCoy going down. If Gerald McCoy's still here, no one really probably wants to talk Tristan Hill. Right? But he's not. So hey, you're up next. He's right now the 3 tech that's up next, and he's only 21 years old. And he's playing in front of the world's most famous team. So all eyes are on him. He's probably awkward for him. He can't interview, and that's okay. He's not a good interview. I just want to make sure he's a good player. I don't care if he can't interview. It was awkward, Joe. It was weird. Maybe he needs to be coached up on how to give a proper interview. But honestly, man, I can care less about that from my 3 tech. Just go play. Go get the quarterback.
That's a great point. That's a really great perspective to look at it, because, some people probably just at the surface are like, man, I don't know about this. But what you're saying, Sky, I completely agree. Some people are not, they're not comfortable with it, or maybe they never have been. But, from people looking on the outside looking in, you could probably see where he might rub people the wrong way. and that kind of thing. Is that what the issue was with the previous regime? We don't know. But like you said, if he puts it out on the field, whatever. And I think that's what we got out of Jay Ratliff. We heard about this with Jay Ratliff. He hated the media. He was one of those guys that just didn't like doing interviews. He'll tell you to your face. So if they can put it on the field, it's a non-issue for me. So,
same with me, man. Same with me. I don't care if he puts it on, as long as he puts it on the field. But you made a good point. Maybe from the outside looking in, you get that thought like, maybe this is why he was in the doghouse or why he was an issue at in college. And I'm thinking about it. Yeah, he had an attitude kind of during the interview. But he caught himself sometimes. I don't know if you noticed that. He caught himself kind of getting maybe into the old Tristan ways. He's still, again, 21. Joe, when you was 21, you weren't trying to hear nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a facts, man. Straight facts.
So I think Tristan at 21 is getting these weird ass questions. Hey, Tristan, how you feel about the jersey? Like, what? He don't care about the jersey, man. And maybe he is pissed off that he had to give up and he got deboed for his jersey, as my guy would like to say. And he don't want to talk about that because he had to give up 97 for 72. And now he's got what, 76?
Yeah. Then he's got 72. And then here we go again with the pressure again of, can you live up to the shoes of Ed Too Tall Jones? So it's a never-ending pressure on this young guy. So
they said Tristan, what'd you like? He said, what'd you like about the jersey? He said, I just seen a number that I like. Damn well you don't like 76, Tristan Hill. But I give it to him. You know what I mean? At least he answered it without getting too pissy. So
yeah, absolutely. Great information there. But Sky, what is your thought there? Following up on La'el Collins, any concerns here as far as him still being out, and is it in fact a conditioning issue? Does that kind of raise your eyebrows a little bit?
I do believe it. They said that because of the COVID, the strange offseason, La'el couldn't get in the greatest shape. If you really go back and even look at his time in LSU and his time in the league when he first came in as a Buck, he was the type that needed to be whipped in shape. I believe there was one of the off seasons where La'el was kind of struggling with the conditioning program, passing that conditioning test.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that, he didn't come in the greatest shape. It's slightly concerning. Here's why. I don't know if he kind of got big of himself. We've been pumping up La'el. He had a career year. He's one of the top right tackles, but you have to work hard to stay at that level. He hasn't been there yet. I don't know if he knows how to do that yet. He's around guys, Frederick at one point, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin. They know how to stay elite, stay good, stay great. La'el is learning how to do that. So it's a bit concerning that he's coming in out of shape. I think he'll get whipped into shape, Joe, but you don't want to see that from your starting right tackle. I don't think he's injured per se.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard any injuries that has been concerning. It's more he's just not in shape. Fortunately, he dodged that ar accident.
Yeah, that was the other thing. It was like, man, 2020 has no mercy on anybody or anything. So let's be thankful for that. No injuries coming on that could have been devastating for the Cowboys right now because you look at the depth we just talked about. It's not very good. And that's a question mark for me right now. That depth is kind of scary. They talked about on Tuesday they'll finish installing the offense, and which usually happens right before your first preseason game. So the domino effects of the COVID and no preseason, everybody, NFL, not just the Cowboys, are behind, the eight ball right now. So La'el Collins, I think he's got, they're going to work him up. He's got about, what are we at now? 14 days out before cuts, before the end of training camp, right? I think we've got 14 days or so left.
Yeah, about 3 weeks to the season. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting, but I feel like he'll be fine. You put him in there. He's got a great he's got a great right guard next to him, and so I'm not worried about it right now. But let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears to the defensive side of the ball. Sky, let's talk about a little bit of Tom Sula. They interviewed him. He gave us some information on Aldon Smith, Demarcus Lawrence. And let's take a look at some of that right here. So this is coming from Michael Gelkin, and he gives us a little bit of insight here. Let's take a look.
I started following him. He's got a lot of good tweets about the Cowboys here of late.
Yeah, Michael Gelkin's he's a great follow. I just started following him about a year or two ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he's
I
new.
just found him.
Yeah, I think he's new to the beat
Okay.
for the Cowboys. So he goes on to say, does it look like Aldon Smith has missed 5 years? Defensive coach Jim Tomsula. No, I think the world of Aldon. Aldon Smith is a truly good person, somebody that is very dear to my heart. His truthfulness, his work ethic, his demeanor. There's a lot of special to Aldon Smith. So great praise there, Sky. What's your thoughts there on the what he's talking about Aldon Smith here, Jim Tomsula?
Yeah, it's not just Jim either. It's the players, it's Dak, it's the offensive linemen. I mean, everyone is loving what they're seeing from Aldon. There was that picture of Demarcus Lawrence and Aldon Smith together. That boy Demarcus Lawrence looked like a kid, didn't he? He looked like a kid in a candy store. He was just so happy, like they was best friends. When the last time you seen Demarcus Lawrence look like that with a player?
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah, I think something's up this year. I was talking to somebody on Twitter. I was like, man, listen, I'm not saying Aldon Smith is going to be a Pro Bowler. I just need him to be about 60 to 70% of himself. Because if you go back and look at Aldon Smith in his prime, he was on a trajectory to be an all-time great. I am not lying. This isn't one of those where you're being hyperbole. Oh, you're a homer. No. He didn't even play for the Cowboys. He literally was on his way to being an all-time great. He was like top 3 all-time in sacks in his first 2 or 3 seasons. And his talent didn't tail off. His mental state did. And it sounds like, him working with that MVP program.
Yeah.
And the interviews you see with Aldon Smith, it's all there for him. And he's a changed man. And I believe he is a changed man. Now, the 5-year thing, as much as I love my Cowboys, as much as I love Aldon Smith and what he could bring, I got to see it first because that's 5 years, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's 5 years not playing football. And in a sense, it's like riding a bike with the pass rush moves and what have you. Like these guys are 1% athletes. So they can remember this stuff in their sleep. So I just got to see it though. But I think he has a possibility to be a real legit role player for this team. Some people think starter.
Yeah, for sure. Let me get your look on this, your outlook on the defensive end here. Speaking about Aldon Smith, what is your take as far as I guess you could say pitch count? They talk about the pitch count. Is he going to be on the pitch count? Do you see Everson Smith being the primary starter and then rotating in Aldon Smith? What's your vision as far as what the Cowboys might have planned for him?
I've been thinking about this, and I've been back and forth on what we're really going to do here. It's hard because we don't have preseason. We're not getting everything from the coaches. I think they're loving this lockdown thing with COVID because they're not allowed to show tape. We're not allowed to really talk formations and how many players are getting this many snaps and all this stuff. So it's all speculation. But one thing that I think I'm getting from this coaching staff is that we're going to be more of a week to week type of team, offensively and defensively, meaning we're actually going to game plan, guys.
Yeah.
We're actually going to say, hey, we're playing this team that likes to do this, so we're going to take it away by doing that. So if that means we got to be more 4-3 this week, you're going to see more Everson Griffin. If that means we got to be more 3-4, you're going to see more Aldon Smith. So it may not be a 60-40 type of thing every week like we would have been under Jason Garrett, right? There's a pitch count. Our guys are going to play this. No, it may be one of those things where we're playing a Lamar Jackson and Aldon Smith is a better guy against this RPO because he may be more agile and faster. So we'll play Aldon Smith a little bit more. We'll use him as that that robber guy or that what do they call it where it's the spy, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they do that. Who knows? But I think we're going to see more of a week to week thing as opposed. I'm just guessing, but it feels that way because you heard Cheeto and you heard Jalen. We're going to be more hybrid and we're going to be more complicated, right? And that's a good thing in my opinion because we were way too vanilla for the last 4 years.
Yeah, no, we were, pretty much under Garrett's tenure, too cookie cutter. And they came out and would say, some of these former players would come out and say that it was going to be up to the team to figure us out and beat us. And for the most part, they did. That they were able to pick us apart. These young quarterbacks could pick apart that secondary. Backup quarterbacks. I mean, come on. Like, this was so frustrating as a fan, right? So, yeah, I think they're definitely going to keep it fresh. They're going to keep it innovative. I love the whole hybrid thing because I think it really is going to highlight the playmaking ability. And I think that's what McCarthy has done really well in his career. He puts your best players on defense, whether it was a Clay Matthews, BJ Raji,
Julius Peppers.
Julius Peppers. I mean, he had a plan for these guys. They wouldn't bring him in for just a reason. So when they brought in Alden Smith, I said, here we go. This is the thumbprint already. This is what we're gonna do. So
They brought in Alden, Joe.
Yeah.
To me, that was kind of the trigger point that, we really are going to be more of a 3-4 or a hybrid because he hasn't played in a 4-3.
Right.
Alden's been a stand-up guy, and he can put his hand in the dirt. There's tons of highlights with it, but man, he's deadly in his prime. He was deadly as a stand-up 3-4 outside linebacker because guys couldn't get their hands on him right away. Telling you, man, if he can be 70% of what he was, scary season.
It's going to be scary for these NFC East quarterbacks. Some of them that can't stay healthy. I wouldn't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? Are we going to see Jalen Hurts at some point? I think so. So,
the odds are pretty great that we're going to see Jalen Hurts at some point.
I think so. So, yeah, it's a good time to be a Cowboys fan, a fan of the defense. NFC East quarterbacks, not so much.
Yeah. Now, I am interested though to see where the young buck. You had a wonderful breakdown on Bradley and I, where he plays in all this because you bring in Alden, you bring in Everson, Randy possibly coming back. I talked about it on my show before. I have a hard time seeing him kind of making the game day roster, Joe, and I like him.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about the reps. The reps are premium right now, and you just don't have enough to go around. We did see Hellman with a little bit of a blurb, the other day, but you got to give these reps, especially with this new program, to the guys that you're expected to be out there, as your starters. So it's going to be interesting to see how the cuts look. But at the same time, a lot of the guys that they have brought in, Alden Smith, Everson Griffin, these guys, they're on short-term deals. So at the same time, you got to keep that in mind as far as, can you stash a guy? Can you stash him on the practice squad? Can you, keep him on here and hope that nobody takes him? So
I hope they don't cut him. I think he makes
so.
the team. I'm just more worried about him seeing game day action. I don't know if the 46-man roster is up this year because of COVID. It needs to be. I think they should bump it up to like 49 or 50 because of COVID. But I don't know how he sees the game day roster. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. Would he make that? Who would they have to, right now you probably have to go a little bit deep right on offensive line. So, yeah, man. But it's like we just talked about too, though. It's going to be a week-to-week thing. Maybe somebody's a little bit dinged up. Maybe they want to bring him out here to go up against somebody that he's beaten in the past. He's got the quick step. That's all you need out of Bradley and I. That 10-yard split is elite. So you can bring him off the edge. He's going to get pressure. He's going to get his pressure for sure. So yeah, I think it's good. It's a good problem to have, right, Sky?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm loving it. I just wish McCoy didn't get hurt. We really would have been dumb deep up there. But hey, there's a guy out there who likes to eat snacks. So yeah.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm just like, why not? Like, why not? Like, I've always been one of don't settle, right? Don't settle for whatever position it is. If it's a tight end, a defensive tackle, that kind of thing. Now, a defensive end, I think you're getting a little bit, the numbers are pretty thick there. Talk about Clowney. I don't know. I just don't see Clowney being in the picture at this time.
Me neither. Because you got Griff. Like a lot of us in this community have been saying, go get this man.
Right.
Because we needed somebody opposite of Demarcus Lawrence to be reliable. No offense to Alden Smith. Ain't played in 5 years. Randy Gregory, we don't know if he's going to be there. Bradley and Nye's a 5th-round rookie that kind of needs to get his feet wet. We needed that one veteran who's proven in this league, and we got him in Griffin. So you're not really going to – Griffin's going to play a lot. You bring in Clowney. I would love it on Madden.
Right.
But realistically, how do you do that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. It is. For me, Everson Griffin, everything just made a lot of sense. You saw us bring in Coach Edwards from Minnesota, senior defensive consultant. McCarthy saw that. You saw him up front harassing Aaron Rodgers for years. So it just made too much sense. It made way too much sense. But for the price that we got him at, Sky, It was highway robbery, baby.
About a month or so ago, I'm sitting here like, if we could get Everson Griffin from 12 to 14 million, I think that'd be a good 1 year deal.
Yeah.
And then breaking news, Everson Griffin. I'm like, all right, what's the money? 1 year, 6 million, 3 million guarantee. Are you kidding me? The guy was a Pro Bowler last year.
Yeah.
Unbelievable,
man. Unbelievable. Looking at another player on the defensive side, Sky, we're looking at more from Jim Tomsula. This time he's talking about, Demarcus Lawrence now. So let's take a look at this tweet here. A little bit of background from Tomsula talking about our very own D-Law. Jim Tomsula said, Demarcus Lawrence is fantastic to me. The work ethic and all that stuff is there. Scouted him in college. Pushes envelope on different technique, respects, and practice. I really enjoyed him and the rest of the room. So, if you want to talk about the scouting side of this thing, Jim Tomsula, obviously he's worked with one of the best, with Aldon Smith, and he scouted Demarcus Lawrence. So he's got good weapons. I mean, you got to love hearing this from Tomsula about Demarcus Lawrence. Sky, what's your thoughts?
I like what McCarthy said about Demarcus Lawrence in regards to standing up, because we all thought, how is he going to translate to that?
Yeah.
I think what Jim is talking about here, being fantastic work ethic and talking about the technique, one of the best technicians in the entire NFL was Demarcus Lawrence. And you when you look at the tape, you realize why. He's athletic, but he's not Von Miller. He's athletic, but he's not, this wiry type of guy. He can get down the line, right? He's great against the run and things like that. But why he's so great in the pass rush is because of his technique. He is a technical pass rusher, and he's fantastic, as Jim Tomsula said, with it. But what Mike McCarthy said is what kind of made me say, see, this is what I like here. He said they asked him about him standing up. He said, I had a guy in Julius Peppers that never stood up and came to Green Bay in his later years, stood up and was still a very productive, and a problem. In fact, we all know, we saw what happened in 2014, what he did to DeMarco Murray, making him fumble the ball, which could have been the game. So I can see, and I was like, okay, you know what? I like that comparison. And then our own comparison is Greg Ellis. Greg Ellis didn't want to play 3-4. When Bill came over, he was fighting it, and then all of a sudden he had a career year in the 3-4. I think if Demarcus Lawrence can get a few moves out of the 3 as a stand-up guy, it just makes him that much better. But the beauty of what Mike McCarthy said was, if we find out, or if we see that Demarcus Lawrence is better in pass rush situations with his hand in the dirt, that's what we'll do. I love that, Joe, because they're not forcing him to do something like we saw under the other regime, where they would take a square peg and try to put it in a round hole. They're saying, we're going to do this with Demarcus Lawrence, but if it doesn't work, we're going to do what works. And I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a great point, about, he's done it before, right? So he did it with Peppers and these guys. And so it worked, and it's a testament to the scouting of the player, right? So McCarthy, just the experience that he brings to your team, he's a quarterback whisperer, working with Montana, Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Dak Prescott. You love that, but then he's also a wide receiver whisperer. He knows what he wants out of his wide receivers. He puts them in position to win their battles, setting up the mismatches, right? So now him analyzing these other guys on defense, I take his word for it. I really do. I trust Mike McCarthy and the knowledge that he brings to this defense. We're no longer learning on the job, like it was with Garrett. You always felt like he was just going along with learning as he went along, right?
Yeah, I think those first 5 years under Garrett was so much learning on the job.
Yeah,
it took till 2014 to something to break through, but it really clicked once he starts surrounding himself with other, experienced head coaches or experienced coaches. But I'm gonna just leave it at that with Garrett, Joe, because you see my shows. I can get on Garrett, and I don't want to right now.
I know, man. We can all go on that tangent because it was just what the heck happened there, right? So.
Yeah, man, I'm excited though about D-Law. But what about behind D-Law? I ain't talk about that too much. Is Dorrance Armstrong standing up? Joe Jackson, like, what are we doing behind him? I don't know yet. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's the thing here for me is, you're not hearing too much on those guys, Joe Jackson, Dorrance Armstrong. So I think that's interesting, right? So yeah, what's behind him, right? Do you then move in over another player behind him? Maybe they're going off that, that the depth is so deep now. We still have the possibility of even getting Randy Gregory in here if the commissioner can,
I'll tell you what, in a perfect world, if Randy comes in, I think I would use Alden Smith as Demarcus Lawrence backup. In the sense of play him more on the left side. Or hell, sometimes rush him at the same damn time on that side if you want, and then I'd have Randy as my backup right outside linebacker, defensive end, whatever you want to call it. And you just got a ridiculous set of rushers and Griffin and Law and Smith and Randy, and then not to mention Anai or Armstrong. So yeah, let's hope Randy comes back.
Yeah, the options are pretty much unlimited. With when we're talking about Alden Smith, somebody asked him if he could play 3-tech, and he said, "Hey, just put me in position, and I can." Can you imagine? I think he could do it and do it well. And then you have another, and then you put him over there next to Everson Griffin. Like, what the heck? How do you even stop that? You know what I mean?
On the NASCAR type package, you could potentially roll out. Oh my goodness, Randy, D-Law, Griffin. Well, Randy, D-Law, Alden Smith, and Griffin. That legitimately could happen, and he's up to 285, and it's not sloppy 285.
Yeah,
he's a stout, like strong, physical, athletic 285, and I think the reports were they did have him in there at 3-tech a little bit. I doubt it's going to be full time. He's not built for it full time, but pass rush, get your best guys out there.
That's what I'm saying. Situationally, man, that could be something special. I mean, and I've talked about this here a lot on my channel, is to get to that championship level, you got to have these special moments, these special squads, right? Legion of Boom, the defense from the Ravens, that offense from the Rams. If you have a special defense like we think we're going to have, and even the offense, we're in good shape, man. We're in great shape. So we just gotta get that thing done, baby.
By the way, I just want to let people know in the chat, I am Skywalker, but I just commented in the chat. But my YouTube channel is Dallas Cowboys Universe. So if you guys are searching Skywalker, you're like, where's Skywalker go? We are rebranding over there. So I'm Dallas Cowboys Universe, y'all.
Absolutely. And make sure, if you haven't, which I'm pretty sure a lot of our subscribers have crossover, hit my boy up, man. Hit him up. He's a great follow, putting great content out there on the daily. Check him out, everybody.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. Let's look at the other side of the ball here. Let's look at what Coach Henry said about some of these receivers, Sky. So this is coming from Michael Gilkin. New Cowboys wide receiver coach Adam Henry has long respected Amari Cooper's route running. I've always tried to look at video of other guys in the meeting room, especially in the offseason. He's a guy that I've always watched, even in college. I've always followed his career. So yeah, this is you like to hear these types of things, when you're talking about, is it a Peanut Tillman that you're showing footage to these secondary guys to punch the ball out and these types of guys. What's your thoughts here on Henry talking about Cooper here, Sky?
It's good to listen to him. We haven't heard from, I don't believe we've heard from Adam Henry yet. I've heard from some of the other guys. And I was kind of excited to bring him on because we did not have a good go about it with, what's that guy? What's his name? Lyle? What is the former wide receiver coach's name? Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. It's
I forget. It was a strange name, but we didn't have a good go about it with him. We led the league in drops last year. We had I don't understand how we went that far down in drops, dog. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
All three of our top wide receivers couldn't catch a damn thing when we needed them to. Granted, they all were productive at the same time. But this guy's work with Odell Beckham and guys like that. So I think him coming over and seeing Coop and saying the things he's saying about Coop, that says a big deal. And we all know Coop's the guy, right? We know Coop is the man. So this doesn't surprise me. I think you're going to get all the coaches come in and be amazed at what they see with Cooper. Even CD Lamb said, man, just watching him run his routes, dog. He's a route demon. You know what I mean? He's going to be. I think he's going to have a fantastic year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the possibilities on
Sanjay Lau, that's his name.
Yeah, Sanjay Lau. There you go. Somebody put it out there in the comment box. Speaking of Cooper, and this is exactly what you're referencing to, Sky. Let's take a look at this here. This is exactly what we're talking about. This comes from John Machota.
Yeah.
CD Lamb on Amari Cooper. And so this is Cooper really just, looking at Cooper's route running. Seeing him run routes every day is ridiculous. Just seeing him work, asking him questions, picking his brain, getting a little knowledge, tips from whatever he has in his game. I'm asking as many questions as possible, and he's answering them. I love this. This kind of just really gave me a big smile when I saw this because, you want this to happen, but you don't know if it's happening behind the scenes. And CD Lamb kind of gives us a little, peek behind the curtain there.
Listen, though, if he picks up any little bit of anything from Amari Cooper, CD Lamb will be a top 10 wide receiver in this league in no time. I'm not talking 2-3 years from now or 3 or 4 years from now. I'm talking sooner than later. The dude is ridiculous already. He's already a good route runner. He still has to get a little bit stronger off the line of scrimmage and things like that. But if Coop is teaching this man, like legitimately teaching him, because he has the physical tool set to do what Coop can do. He is quick like that. He is great out of his breaks. He doesn't have the same speed as Coop, but he ain't slow, So if Lamb is picking up what Coop is putting down, all right, now that 3,000-yard wide receiver might not be far-fetched.
Yeah, for real, man. And I just love this because I think, he comes into the league with a bachelor's degree, getting a little bit of mentorship under Cooper. He could end out of this with a PhD 2 times over. So I love this, because sometimes you don't know if these older guys are going to really, want to bring some of these guys along. Maybe they see him as a threat to the position. Cooper just seems like a really just stand-up guy all around. So when I look at this, I kind of look at it as the what the Falcons had with Roddy White and Julio Jones, right? So Roddy White was in the league there before Julio and kind of got his feet under him. And then when Julio came in, really kind of mentored him as well. And then Julio just took off from there, and Roddy White kind of just finished that career. So I see a lot of this kind of parallels between the two, with Cooper and CD Lamb kind of learning right now. And just like you said, I think we're going to see this transition as far as him being really good, really quick.
Yeah, you got to love that the teammate Cooper is, man. He's not a diva. He's not a me guy. He don't care. He just wants to win, but he's so damn good that we expect, big numbers every damn game. But again, don't be shocked if this is a week-to-week thing, between these 3 guys. 1 week, Coop might have 3 catches, 30 yards, and Lamb went off 8 catches, $150. So, you can't mad at him this year. Yeah.
So, and I think they all know that they're going to feast. They asked Cooper, if, about him playing in the slot, if he minded moving in there. And he said that he really encouraged it. It'll keep the defense guessing. So he's all for it. So
it's so much you can do. And it's funny because I talked about this with Vaj. I'm like, in the offseason before we got CD Lamb, a lot of us and a lot of people just in general were thinking about that thought. Hey, man, maybe move Coop in the slot sometimes. Not full time. He's too good. He's too valuable as a next wide receiver. But maybe move him inside sometimes because we didn't think we'd find a replacement to play a lot of snaps on the boundary. Well, we got CD Lamb now. So he can play on the boundary a lot. And can you imagine Cooper against a team's 3rd or 4th cornerback?
No.
With a 2-way break? Oh, my.
Yeah. Yeah, wait, what do you do? How do you stop any of this right now? It's scary. I mean,
only thing that can stop us is COVID, fam.
Yeah, COVID and injury on that O line. That's it. So let's knock on wood, everybody out there. Knock on wood, and like on this video, if you're tuning in, guys, we see everybody in the chat box. We appreciate you guys out there. Let me ask you this, Sky. So talking about wide receivers. You're hearing a lot more of Cedric Wilson kind of maybe pulling away from the rest of the crowd as possibly that number 4 receiver. Without a preseason and this type of thing, how do you feel that 4th and 5th wide receiver shake out?
It's so funny. After the Cedric Wilson thing came out, the next day Devin Smith got brought up with the media saying he had a strong, strong day.
Yeah.
And I got to thinking, why stop at the fourth wide receiver? Because we're going to need 6 or 7 of them this year. And so I decided to dive in more, and I'll dive in more of it because on Sunday tomorrow actually, I have Jeff Kavanaugh on to talk about the wide receiver unit. And doing my research and digging and notes and stuff, I'm like, you know what? This depth isn't that bad. Devin Smith, he wasn't used properly to me. I didn't because he couldn't play special teams, right, Joe? That's probably why he didn't get many snaps. But we didn't have the guy to take the top off the defense. I don't know if we cared for it, but I do know Mike McCarthy loves wide receivers.
Yeah,
and he can take the top off the defense. Cedric Wilson, it's pretty much a do-it-all guy. Not great at anything, just can do a lot of the things you want him to do. It just hasn't been healthy, and he can return punts, and he can play special teams. And then there's a guy no one talks about who's just I think a gritty player is Ventrell Bryant. As your like 6th wide receiver guy, special teams, emergency to come in. Here's the funny thing about Ventrell. When he had to come in, dude was not bad.
Yeah.
Touchdown, I believe, against the Jets. Touchdown, I think, against the Bills. He's a special teams ace, big body wide receiver. We don't have too many players on the team as big as Ventrell Bryant. So while, yes, Cedric may be locking down the 4th wide receiver, I think we still got to look at the whole entire, reserves and think, do we have enough? If one guy goes down, we're fortunate to have a CeeDee Lamb, a Gallup, and a Coop to fill the outside. We're fortunate to have that. And a guy like Said could step in the slot. But I think I'm okay. I'm okay with the depth we have right now. If they start going down, though, like flies, then I'll be a little bit concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Now, they haven't carried 6 wide receivers in a couple of seasons. I think they've done it once in the last decade or so. Any opposition to even going 6 deep? Is that a possibility?
I think they should this year, Joe. Only because of the COVID. Like, what if somebody now, granted, they like Ventrell may be able to sneak on or Devin may be able to sneak on somebody's practice squad, but I think somebody would want Devin Smith. I do. I think somebody would want Cedric Wilson. Ventrell was lauded he was snatched on the practice squad from the Bengals. So if it does come down to only 5, that's going to be a tough cut. Right now, it sounds like I think Devin Smith would be the odd man out because of special teams, but I'm keeping him. In fact, I would go back and look at how many wide receivers Mike McCarthy kept as opposed to the Cowboys. I don't know that one. Maybe Lunatic or somebody could tell us. So how many have?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you do get a little bit of that leeway with the 55. But like, as far as do they go 6, that would be interesting, so we'll see what they do there. But I agree. I think that it is pretty deep, and that combination, Cedric Smith 4, who's the 5th, and these kinds of discussions here, I'm sure, are happening with great frequency right now. And it's good to see some of these names popping off in camp. Cedric Wilson pre-camp in my book was a guy that I thought, this is a Garrett holdover, possibly is he going to get a shot with these guys? So it's really good to see him coming under this new regime and really show what he can do for McCarthy. So I think that in itself speaks volumes as far as the character as well of Cedric Wilson. I think it's a good thing for sure.
Yeah, some people in the chat said, my guy Reddy Red said McCarthy goes deeper with wide receivers, which makes sense. He likes those receivers over there in Green Bay. And then I completely forgot about Noah Brown. I mean, I don't know. That's a Garrett holdover. You want to talk about a Garrett holdover?
Yeah, I think the ship has sailed on Noah Brown. Fortunately, I mean, not to say that maybe he does something here that he's running out of time. I mean, we got like under 2 weeks of camp, so
I can't see it.
Unless
he. I think he'll be on one of those practice squads. They increase the roster. So.
Yeah, they could carry him now with the new CBA and this thing. You can carry vets now on the practice squad, so that's a pretty good little change to the CBA. But you also do have a possible weapon in somebody like Tony Pollard. So this guy, if you want somebody that can catch and run and be a mismatch. Maybe you do go short there at wide receiver and stick with 5 because you have that option with Tony Pollard. So it's just a testament of how well this roster has been built over the last couple of seasons.
The offense is at least the skill position is definitely looking very well rounded. Say that.
Yeah. And let's take a look at speaking of running backs, guy. Let's take a look at
Those rookies.
let's take a look at some of these running backs. So this is coming from John Machota, and he's saying Cowboys running back Tony Pollard on being on the field at the same time with Ezekiel Elliott and CeeDee Lamb. All right, just having guys that can make plays all around the field, never knowing who the ball is going to. You never know what to expect. So, what in the world? How do you stop this guy? Like, this is just crazy to me. It's getting crazy for us, right?
I am number one Tony Pollard fan, guy. I love Tony Pollard's game. I will battle anybody that tries to say he's some gadget player or he's a Lance Dunbar type. No,
no.
What's the cat? Gary Brown said it immediately when he came in. He said, "This guy's not a gadget player. First of all, he's 6 foot 200. And I think he said he's up to 215.
Yeah, that's not. He's got some muscle mass added for sure in the offseason.
Do you see how he moved? He moved like he's $180. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's strong. He can catch out the backfield. He was more of a threat as a receiver in college. I really do think Tony Pollard is your modern day running back. If he and this might be high praise, but if he played in the offense that featured him, he easily could be an 800 guy. I'm not gonna go 1,000 yet, but he could be 800 if they featured him. Because he can run between the tackles. He can run outside. He can catch. He can line up as a wide receiver. He's very, very versatile. And I'm praying like hell. Do you remember the play that we saw against the Dolphins? I featured this a few times where Ezekiel Elliott, TP goes in motion. They fake the RPO and they throw it to him. I hope we see more of that this year and different things out of it because we saw that and we didn't see it again for weeks, Joe.
Yeah.
Why not run different actions out of that? It was mind-blowing last year.
It really was. It was so frustrating. And especially the way they started the season. It was like, all right, here's the Kellen Moore, taking over, doing his thing. We're explosive now. And then it just curtailed. I don't know what the heck happened. I think it was just Garrett being Garrett and,
Oh, man, it didn't make any sense. 1 week, Pollard has $130 and a touchdown. And next week he has no touches. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and then as you're watching the game and you could see, they're stuffing Zeke and they're not having the best of a game, you don't even see them even put Pollard out there to, let's see what can happen here. Yeah, let's loosen some things up, right? So I'm really, really excited about this. Putting them in the backfield at the same time. I mean, the possibilities, they're just endless, These guys are like the thing I love about these players when you talk about Tony Pollard and CeeDee Lamb is after the catch, all you got to do is get the ball in their hands and they're a nightmare to bring down. So I can't wait for it.
He was number one. He was number one in elusive rating last year.
Yeah.
He didn't get that many touches. He was one of the top backs in yards after carry. He was one of the top backs in missed tackle percentage. We saw the beautiful run he had against the Eagles and the Rams. I mean, he makes people miss with his wiggle. The difference with him and Zeke makes you miss at the line of scrimmage, right? Tony can make you miss behind the line of scrimmage and at the second level. That's one of the things that I want to see Zeke get back to is making people miss at the second level, but he's more of a freight train. Tony is just so agile, man. And what do you do when you have them out there? You have to play them together more just because it's a look that I think will give defenders and defensive coaches fits. Because how do you prepare for it? I would go 1 week, we'd run 10 plays out of it, and next week maybe only 3. And they're like, what the hell do we do here?
Yeah. No, it's a kind of the continuing theme that we're talking about here today, Sky, is the possibilities are endless here. And for Mike McCarthy, the way he utilizes these players, looking back at him with the Packers, what he did with Ty Montgomery, I could easily see them doing that here with Pollard. But you put him in the slot, and do you go? Who do you have in the backfield? You could have an H-back with tight end. These formations are going to be something that they're going to be. Yeah,
Kellen is the guy. Kellen is born to be a play caller. They said Kellen just stays up and just makes plays. In fact, I don't know if you heard the story when they drafted, uninspectedly, CeeDee Lamb. They say that Kellen called Mike McCarthy immediately and said, let's make some plays. Let's get some plays going here. Because they didn't think he was going to be there. So they didn't even plan for it.
I mean, no idea. That draft night was crazy, dude. Like when they drafted him, I was kind of just lost for words. I was like, did we really do this? Like what? Like I was like, man, this is crazy, dude. And then you let it. For me, I let it hit me, and I was like, dude, this is crazy, bro. Like, I mean,
I went off on our draft show, and I almost forgot we were even doing a damn show, man. I got up out my chair, I ran around the house, and I was like, oh shit, let me get back here because we got to finish the show here. But the adrenaline was pumping because when we were doing the mock drafts and talking, I just kept saying, I mean, yeah, if one of those guys are there, you can't pass on them. But then I left it at that because I didn't think they'd really be there.
Yes.
So I'm thinking cornerback. I'm thinking, Kaylavon Chason. I'm thinking things like that. I didn't even put too much attention on it until about pick 10. I'm like, there's no receiver taken. This is weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it was awesome. That was so fun, man.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about draft season, man. I just love the you just don't know, what some of these teams are really planning at. It's all speculations. What makes it a lot of fun.
A lot of smoke screens.
A lot of smoke screens. A lot of misdirection. It's a lot of strategy, man. It really is. There's a lot of strategy involved in this thing. So let's take a look at another note here. This is actually coming from Coach Skip Pete. So
Skip is back.
Skip is back. Yeah, he used to be here with the Cowboys, the same position.
Uh-oh. Where'd my guy go? Looks like Joe might have dipped out for a quick second. I'm pretty sure he'll come back in here, though. I think he's talking about what Skip Pete said. Let me see here because I had to Skip Pete one up. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. Before we do that, though, man, shout out to y'all in the chat. Y'all are really holding it down. There you go. He's back.
Yeah. Fell off there for a second, man.
I was just shouting out the chat right quick.
Yeah, chat box is on fire. We will get to some questions here. Just got so much great news here, and Sky and I are just talking our heads off. So appreciate you guys hanging in there.
Yeah.
We see you guys enjoying.
Let me tell you something, Joe. This ain't new for the people on my channel. I and if I'm too long, you let me know because this is your show. I can be long-winded. I can go, fam. So
let's just go with the flow. That's what I love to hear, man. So
yeah.
We're not on any kind of restraints right now, so we're gonna keep at it, guys. And what I wanted to talk about here is more on. We're talking about Skip Pete here, right?
Yeah. You said he said something.
Yeah, so let's
find it for you.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. So this is coming from Michael Gelkin, and he says, Cowboys running back Skip Pete said, it can help expand our offense and put a little bit more pressure on the defense. When Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard share a field, Pete on Pollard, he's been very impressive. Drafted his college teammate, Darrell Henderson, in 2019 with the Rams. So, so just he's – I mean, just what we talked about, right?
I'm just so giddy because I don't think this is talk now, Joe. Like, I don't think this is just, remember how we heard Scott Linehan say, yeah, we're going to do different things this year. And we didn't do anything different.
Yeah.
I really, truly believe they're going to try to utilize this guy as much as they can because he's too good. He's too good.
He's too good. He's too good. And, and he's already familiar with the program. Foots and I covered Pollard and Henderson during the draft when they came out. And really, Foots, to his credit, man, he was on top of this Pollard out of Memphis from the get-go. He really, I got hip to him through Foots. And great program. I mean, Memphis keeps on putting out great players into the NFL. They just keep chugging them along. Some teams are sleeping on. But you saw what the Rams did. They knew that they had an issue there with Gurley's knee. They brought in Darrell Henderson, and he's already doing his thing there. So these Memphis boys are something.
I think there's another Memphis cat that got drafted by the Redskins. I don't know his name, but he didn't play too much at Memphis, but he's on the Redskins, I think.
Yeah. Keep an eye on those guys. But, man, it's these guys, I mean, it's like you said, Sky, this is something that we're probably going to actually see come to fruition, not just imagining and wishing, like what could have been, right? So
there was a note on TP. I think it was Dave Hellman or somebody was like, all I'm going to say is a picture is basically worth 1,000 words because they're not allowed to tell us what happened.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard was down the field.
Yeah. That
Like,
was that's
man,
gonna happen.
if you can get Tony Pollard lined up on somebody's linebacker that's 6'2", 250 pounds, ain't too many of them dudes running. In fact, probably none of them are running with Tony Pollard downfield.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
That speed is incredible. I mean, he can catch the ball, very elusive. I mean, what is even his Madden agility score? If it's not over 90, there's something wrong with that.
Man, I actually took a peek at the Madden rankings the other day, and I'm like, are you serious right now? What they got some of our guys. I gave up on them.
There's got to be some bias from some of those guys.
Sure.
I swear, man. On keeping on the subject here of offense, Sky, let's take a look at our red zone woes. Okay, under the previous administration, well documented, we had so many issues in the red zone. It became field goal wars 2000. But now, Witten's gone, and now we have a young cat here who's looking to make that next leap. And we're talking about Blake Jarwin here. That's guy.
Well, I got to drop one on you. That is my boy, Joe. I'm going to ride with Blake because people giving Blake Jarwin a hard time, man. Like, if you look at Blake Jarwin, look at that catch. Look at him. If you look at Blake Jarwin's stats, what he did last year, if you project it out as a full-time starter, he's a borderline Pro Bowler in the NFC. I mean, it is what it is, fam. Like, that's just it is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you go ahead, though, because I don't want to take it over with Blake, man.
So I love seeing this news here, right? Because for me, it's like I want to see it on the field. We did get a little bit of the preview there when Witt retired, but it's like you said, you project those numbers out, and he's one of the best. He could potentially be one of the best in the NFC East. But I mean, the catch radius, contested catches in the red zone, which the Cowboys have suffered for such a long time. So I just love this, seeing this in the red zone drills, right? And seeing Jarwin in here.
Yeah, because no offense to the great one, Jason Witten, but it was over, Joe. It was over. Like 3 years ago, it was over.
Yeah, it was.
And Witt's never been a red zone threat. He when it's wide open, right? When Tony was fitting it right in it between the numbers, he could catch the balls. The best red zone catch I ever seen him have was it a one-hander against the Niners? I think it was a one-hander against the Niners a few years back. But he's not a guy that's going to get up and jump, and jump out the building, toe tap, and all that stuff. That wasn't Witt. Witt was old man Witt. You had to put it right around here, or he was famous for one of these. He'll get it right here, but it had to be around here. Blake's catch radius is fantastic. It's everywhere. You know what I mean? Just make sure you can put it where he can reach his hands up and he'll snag it. I said it, and I'll say it again. Blake Jarwin has some of, if not the best hands on the team. And that was before CD came. But I think Blake Jarwin's hands are right there with the receivers, if not better than most of the receivers. So I'm excited for this, like how they're going to use him. And Mike loves tight ends.
Yeah, he loves tight ends, and he does like to run them out of the H-back formation. So, a lot of this trickery, a lot of this misdirection like we're talking about here today, it's just another weapon, man. It's just crazy to me, So Blake Jarwin, for me, it's about the Cowboys, man. And hopefully this is a philosophy change that the Cowboys are going to do, because to me, it was just like, man, just tear that Band-Aid off. Let's get a tight end. If it's going to be Jarwin, let it be Jarwin. But let's stop messing around with just wasting this talent,
drafting
tight ends and not using them, So
it was so frustrating, Joe. Watching him take those snaps.
It really was. So now, if anything, you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out. If we're here week 8 and we're seeing some issues at tight end, at least, if anything, at the worst, okay, all right, now we know. But if he shows out like we're thinking he's gonna do, you're in good shape, man. You don't have to blow a high pick on a tight end, right?
It's really hard for me to believe that Jarwin won't, at the very least, produce what Jason Witten did, and at the best, double it.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason Witten had like 500 yards catching it and falling down. I mean, and 3 touchdowns, I think.
Yeah, no, he would. Falling forward. He wasn't an after the catch guy for the most part, especially at the end of his career. It was just like you said, catch and fall down. So
Blake Jarwin was top 12, I think, in yards after catch. For a guy who was a part-time wide receiver, or I'm sorry, part-time tight end. So just imagine what he can do as a full-time guy. And I think he does have things to work on. He could be better getting open in the intermediate routes, as the short routes. Jason Witten was fantastic at that. But Jarwin can stretch the field.
Yeah.
He's a former wide receiver. He can run like a wide receiver. And you look at the 4.7 in his combine, you think, he's slow. But when you go put him out there on the field, how many guys out there covering him are running a 4.4, 4.3, 4.2?
Yeah.
Not many. He's football fast.
That's a real thing. Football fast and football quickness, that is a real thing. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch him as well get into the mix. Ball distribution is something that Mike McCarthy is huge on. So everybody's going to get their looks. Everybody's going to get their opportunities, which I really like. It's not about, man, if we lose this player, we're in big trouble. With Mike McCarthy, he's always had some sort of contingency plan as far as like bringing up the next round of wide receivers or even tight ends. So we'll see, man. I'm interested to see if they bring. How deep do you think they go at tight end, Sky?
I think they'll go 3. Somebody in the chat said Mike McCarthy barely uses tight ends. I would disagree with that. I think Mike McCarthy puts an emphasis on the tight end. Now, did Aaron Rodgers use the tight ends? No. Aaron Rodgers didn't use the tight ends, as frequently as Tony did with Jason Witten. But Aaron Rodgers, if you go back and look at some of his stats, he didn't like going to the middle of the field. The intermediate routes. He was, I think, dead last year in the middle of the field attempts. So he's not a guy that's going to want to target his tight end much, especially when he had, the Jennings and what's the other cat's name? Oh my goodness,
Devontae Adams, Jennings,
the other guy who retired. He went to the Raiders.
I know you're talking about.
But they've had so many wide receivers that's where he predominantly went. However, Mike McCarthy did put an emphasis on tight ends, drafting Richard Rodgers and drafting was it Cook? I think he brought in no Jermichael Finley. They were drafted in the top 3 rounds, and then signing the cat from the Saints, Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
Those guys, he really did put an emphasis on it, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers did. And I think because they had weapons on the outside, they didn't have to go to them that much. That could be the case with Jarwin. Jarwin might not have Jordy Nelson is his name, by the way.
Jordy Nelson, yeah.
Jarwin might not have 80 catches for 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns, but is it far-fetched to see Jarwin have 50 catches for 850 and 6 touchdowns? That's a damn good year for a guy who's going to be the 5th option.
It's going to be great to watch that. I'm interested to see, how they roll this thing out. And it's going to be a weekly thing. It's not cookie cutter anymore. Maybe they'll want to use the tight end some more, give them more looks in the game versus the previous game. I think that's one of the biggest points here from Mike McCarthy, right? Is the whole being prepared. We're all about winning. Everything we do is going to be about winning. So that includes being prepared. That's part about being winning. And I think we're going to see that, man. I'm pumped for this.
I'm pumped, but I am concerned behind Jarwin. Not going to
lie. No, that's the thing too. Behind Jarwin, if you lose him, you're in a little bit of a trouble there. You might get a little bit of a pickle.
Bell's like your blocking guy, the belldozer, right?
The belldozer.
My guy Stevie loves Dalton Schultz. I'm not really too high on Schultz, but he could probably just be there. And I like the Hicatini guy, Cole Hicatini. I think he's more of that receiver type. Receiving type, and I'm hoping we can somehow get him on this team in case something does happen to Jarwin. We have a legitimate threat to catch the rock, because we've seen Mike McCarthy kind of groom these unknown tight ends that make big plays. Like Richard Rodgers wasn't a guy that was sought after in the draft, but how many times have we seen him come up with big catches? I've seen a lot.
Yeah, it puts him in position, man. And it's like Dak Prescott said, he, was it Prescott? Maybe it was, I forgot who it was, but they said that it's all about explaining the play. You're going to be here for this play for a reason. He explains the play. He explains why you're going to be set here at this position. And I think that's a big thing, the communication, right? I think that's what they're talking about, Mike McCarthy versus Garrett. Yeah, well, it was Dak Prescott. They asked him the biggest difference was the communication, right? So
he also said these coaches are smarter. I mean,
basically, right? Yeah, they are, man. And I love how they built this group of coaches. As I saw the names coming in, because I was interested to see who is he going to bring in his staff. And as the names started coming in, you're like, okay, all right, here we go. Al Harris, I love that one there.
Bones Fossil, my favorite
Bones Fossil, bro. Like, dude, just signing him right there probably wins you 1 or 2 games, right?
And Greg Zuerlein, and people was coming at the Greg the leg. They was like, "Oh man, he wasn't good last year." But if you actually went and read about him last year, in the Rams, he's hurt.
Yeah, the growing.
He was just trying to get through it. He was hurt, and you come on now, y'all. I know damn well y'all rather have Greg Zuerlein than Brett Maher.
Dude, Maher. The other thing that I think that Mike McCarthy is not going to do that under Garrett was holding on to players that just weren't up to snuff. The days of Chaz Green, Maher, keeping these guys hoping they're going to be something. McCarthy has shown that in his previous stop. If you don't show something, he's going to replace you with another draft pick. He's going to replace you. He's not going to wait for you to grow up and get the thing going here. So yep. I love that. And those days are over.
Over. None of that. I call it the good old boy club, the buddy system. Hey man, you're a Garrett guy. I'm going to keep you around here. We're going to stick with you. Nah, it's not happening here. This is a new regime. If you want a 1-year contract, you better prove it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, with the Cowboys and around the league, you see some of these programs that go over a certain amount of years and they start to fade off. One of the exceptions might be Mike Tomlin. He's one of my favorite coaches. I love Mike Tomlin. He just seems to continue to keep those groups going and gets them to show up day in and day out. But there's only a few exceptions like that. But for the most part, some of these programs that go on like 8, 10 years, you start to see that fall off. And I think that's what happened to the Cowboys, especially. It was time, man. They had to make this change this season.
It was time a couple of years ago.
Dude, yes. Exactly, man. Exactly. We'll close out the news here with a little bit of some Brian Broaddus, one of my favorite guys from.
Man, I love him. And we had Brian on the show. He was awesome, dude.
I love Broaddus, bro. He's one of my favorite guys. He's really the guy that got me into, analysis of the draft and breaking down players. I learned so much from him from afar. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because you just want to learn about these college players, and I love him, man. But he has a tweet today. And it says, this is about basically talking about the camp all-stars, okay? Yeah. So Derek Eagleton, your attitude is right, but I don't recall Jalen on the all-camp team last year. That would have been Malik Collins, if I'm recalling correct, but that somewhat proves your larger point, so carry on. And then so Broaddus said, I was leading that Collins train. I'll take the blame for that one. So basically what they're talking about here, Sky, is beware of the camp all-stars, right? So we do see it every year, whether it's an Andy Jones or a John Vay or, there's always that list of a player, right, that looks really good in camp and preseason, but when the lights come on, they kind of fade. They kind of fade. Morris Claiborne was a little bit of that as well. But what's your thought on that, Sky? Camp all-stars, and to be aware or beware of that.
It is something we got to watch out for, especially this year because we don't have preseason. We don't have any tape. We're going straight into the season. Now we might get the blue-white scrimmage, or they're calling it like the family scrimmage or something.
Yeah, blue-white scrimmage. Yeah.
Yep. So it's something that's going to be even more scary to see. Like right off the bat, we're hearing for instance, Tristan is having a great camp, blah blah blah. But game 1 or 2, if he comes out and he looks like trash, we're gonna be like, damn, see, we fell for it. But those type of guys, you should have caution with anyway, because we do have to see it, right? We do have to see it. But Malik Collins, Eagleton, I get what he's saying, like he was the camp guy, but Malik Collins didn't have a bad year. He just wasn't what we needed. He was a top 10 pass rusher as a defensive tackle, but we needed him to be a good run defender. You know what I'm saying? So it
Yeah.
wasn't like Malik was horrible. But I guess everyone thought he'd be this well-rounded guy this year. But to me, it seemed like he was just, I need these sacks. I need to eat. I need to get these numbers so I can, get my contract. Camp All-Stars right now. Is there really an All-Star right now? I mean, maybe Alden Smith. There's a lot of stuff coming out about Alden Smith. I don't know. We don't see the tape anymore. All we get are tweets. All we get are news updates.
Yeah.
A couple seconds of highlights from camp. It's difficult to really pinpoint a camp all-star right now. So, but if I had to pick one, I would say Alden Smith. And we do need to be cautious because we have to see it. He's been out the league for 5 years.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, it is something that is a real thing with us, and this happens around the league as well. You get a lot of hype, you get a lot of pre-hype. I remember one for me was Ryan Switzer, but not necessarily a camp all-star. It was more of a pre-belief that the Cowboys were going to line him up with Beasley, and there were going to be this mismatch and this and that. They shipped them off. We didn't see nothing. It was just
maybe I should say this. Maybe CD Lamb is the camp all-star.
Oh.
Maybe it's CD, but guess what? I don't give a damn. I still think he's gonna go out there and kill it. So
I do too. I think CD Lamb is that guy who's has that real potential to be that superstar player, the next era of a superstar player for the Cowboys, because for love or hate the Cowboys and the haters, the Cowboys, they do always tend to have that superstar type of player on the team. It's always somebody. Is it a superstar running back, superstar receiver, linebacker, whatever? The Cowboys seem to always find that gem, right?
Well, minus the Dave Campbell era, but yes.
That was forgettable, bro. That Dave Campbell era was so brutal. That was rough, bro.
Yeah. Minus that era. We've always had a star.
Yeah. That pre-Parcells era. Oh my God, that was so bad, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the questions and comments in the chat box, Sky. Let's see what we got here. Let's scroll.
They've been in there. They've been in there strong.
They've been in here strong. We do appreciate you guys. So
yes, sir.
Come at us right now. Hit us with the questions right now, and we'll.
They were talking about Darius Slay getting cooked over there in Philly. You see them videos?
Oh yeah, let's get this thing going here.
Stevie
Mac, Slay already got burnt by his own teammates, so you gotta love this, right? So the whole thing with them was we're gonna bring him in here to shut down Cooper or whatever. Like, come on, man, you didn't do anything against Gallup. Yeah, you forgot about that, right? So. What's your thoughts on Slay getting cooked here?
When he got signed to the Eagles, they immediately made a highlight of him shutting down Amari Cooper.
Right.
Any context. Let me tell you something, Joe. On our channel, I like to say context matters.
Yeah.
And all those Eagle fans and even some analysts they just straight up ignored the context of that game. They ignored Amari Cooper played 50% of the snaps. They ignored he barely practiced that week. They ignored he played on a bad hammy. And they ignored Michael Gallup and Randall Cobb had a buck each and went off. And they also ignored that Slay had help over top. And they also ignored that Cooper went to the coaches and said, Coach, do not run these routes against this guy. It does not work. What'd they do, Joe? They did it anyway. And so they ignored so many factors in that situation, and they automatically want to. He shut down Darius Slay shut down Cooper. Okay, was Darius Slay going to be able to shut down CD Lamb and Michael Gallup and a healthy Amari Cooper?
Nah, man, it really was a lot of cherry picking when it comes to these Eagles fans and Darius Slay. Like, we shut him down. Y'all are in trouble. Like, no, man. Y'all are in trouble. Look what these guys are doing to him. And we're talking about the Eagles wide receivers. Like, these guys
not that great.
I ain't scared of them. Like, not one bit. Cowboys abroad. Hearing a lot of camp buzz about Francis Bernard, the undrafted linebacker out of Utah, fellow teammate of Bradley and I. So, Sky, when I think about that battle there, we're talking about camp battles here. Justin March, I think, is the one that's really got to stave off this type of competition. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on Bernard? I think he's doing everything you want.
It's a great point. I'm not gonna lie. I've come out and I said I didn't think Francis Bernard would make the team. I didn't know if he could be a special team guy, but if you go back and look at his history in college, it is rocky, but it's a guy who has overcome adversity and has done what he needed to do to be productive on the field. He is standing out right now. And I totally agree with you. Great point on March Lillard, or is it March now?
Justin March. Yeah,
okay.
Justin March.
So March is the guy I think that is going to have to, battle him off the roster. Yeah. But Francis Bernard is showing out, and all we have is camp. There's no preseason. So if March don't step it up, we could see him on the team, and that's a good thing. I want people to realize I'm not rooting against any of these players. I just thought going into the offseason, going into the camp, that the guys that we have at linebacker, it's going to be tough for him to make the team because you got the big four. I call them the big four. And Joe Thomas, Sean Lee, LVE, and Jalen, right? Do you categorize Nye as a linebacker? I don't know. That's going to be interesting. And then you got Gifford. That's my guy. Like, Gifford is my guy. And then after that, March Lillard and Francis Bernard. Bernard seems to have the edge right now. If he's the guy, then so be it, because March Lillard, I think, is only on 1 year deal.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these guys on here are on these 1 years. Joe Thomas, Lillard, these guys. So there could be a little bit of a beginning of a retooling there. Sean Lee, this is his last ride, obviously. He's already showing up on the injury report, and none of us at this point are even surprised. It's all about just give him the vet days, shut it down, bubble wrap him for the season. But Joe Thomas, I think I feel good about him filling that role. This is not something I'm even concerned about. Like, okay, Sean Lee hurt, crap. What do we do? For right now, I'm like, okay, well, we got Joe Thomas. He's just as good at this point, right? Scott?
Yeah, this isn't 5 years ago. Remember when Sean Lee got hurt? Oh, that's it. The defense is terrible, because that's what happened.
That's what would happen, yeah.
Yeah, Sean Lee might not even be your third best linebacker anymore. And that's no offense to Sean. It is what it is right now. Now, if all the playing field is equal, he likely is better than Joe. But the playing field is not equal because Sean Lee can't stay healthy.
Definitely.
So, if, in my opinion, I would just roll with Joe Thomas as my third linebacker, and Sean Lee could be kind of that, emergency guy that sees the field, not that much, sees maybe plays special teams, maybe. That's the problem, because he's so injury prone. Do you play him on special teams?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you do? What do you do there? But yeah, man, I do like the depth, though. I mean, a lot of people are concerned about it, but I personally like the depth. I think Gifford does something there. I think Joe is super athletic and he pops off screen. And I think Sean Lee, if he has to play, can play. So I like the depth.
I like the depth, man. I think we're good there. And it's but moving forward, we could see a pick there, in the draft or something. But for right now, this season, I think we're in good shape there, guys. So
I think you should draft a linebacker every year.
Yeah, and the Cowboys were doing that for a little bit, and it kind of just seems like they've, I wouldn't say get complacent, but I feel like they're in a good place right now with Jalen and the Wolf Hunter. So we'll see if they add in somebody into the mix, or Luke Gifford. I think is somebody that if he can continue to play well, he nabs one of those spots, or maybe even Bernard. So the lunatic asking about the punter if he's going to get cut.
He meant Chris, but I know.
Yeah. He meant Chris Jones. Chris Jones. Appreciate the super chat, the lunatic. Appreciate you. But Sky, what is the deal here with Chris Jones still being on the team? No competition. Is it just the roster? You just don't have enough to add another punter?
Here's what I think happened. No, you got enough. Here's what I think happened. Similar to what's the guy's name? Greg Zuerlein. Chris Jones has been injured. He's been playing through injuries the last few seasons, and he has not been himself, because there was one point in time I was calling Chris Jones the puntisher.
Yeah,
because he was doing trick plays, he was running the ball, he was tackling people, he was just doing a lot of utility things. And Chris Jones' background, he's an athletic guy, he's fast on the field, and I think what Bones Jones, or Bones Fossil, I always call him Bones Jones, Bones Fossil saw was that, wait a minute, I love to run trick plays. Johnny Hecker is a Pro Bowl punter because of me. Johnny Hecker is a household name because of me. And I think he looked at Chris and saw the few times he did run plays and said, I like what he can do. What is up with this guy? Give me something, staff. And they probably told him groin issue. He's got a groin issue. He got an injury problem going on. And if he can stay healthy, I think Chris can be fine. But the problem is, Joe, he hadn't been healthy the last 2 years. But we all know Bones loves to run trick plays. And there are literal highlights of Chris Jones running trick plays. So I think that's why he's on this roster.
Nah, that's the biggest point there, and one that really to be highlighted is what you're saying there about Fossil, and having that wild card, that card up your sleeve. What is it? He brings that element of surprise that the Cowboys haven't used in special teams, right? Like when did we? I mean, it was rare. I don't even know how many times we even ever attempted it, but a fake punt, a fake field goal, whatever, right? So. Let's get it done, man. Let's get it going. And you're right about Chris Jones being athletic and being that guy that could execute that play, right? So
last time I think was 2017. I could be wrong, y'all, but I think it was like the Eagles game where we were just desperate for some type of momentum, and Chris ran off like a 30 or 40-yard run on a fake punt from like the 10. Like it was crazy. I think that's the last time, though, I recall him running. But then when you think about it, I don't think he was healthy enough to even do that the last few years. So, but I think at least some competition should have came in.
Yeah, at least, right? At least like have another leg in here, to really to see, if he's gonna be the guy. Speaking of running backs, Sky, Rico Dowdle, right? This is T-Mac 1906. So Rico Dowdle, he is one of these running backs that's getting some pop in the discussion as far as somebody that's really popping off, right? So we know Zeke, we know TP. How deep and who's in the mix there? We got Shaywell at the fullback. Looks like he, it's his position to lose. What's your thoughts on running backs right now?
That's the guy I think that could play a dual role. I think Shaywell could be your fullback and your halfback, your third back in emergencies, a la Rod Smith.
Yeah.
Because he did a lot of that in college. I don't have much background on Rico Dow, if that's how you say his name.
Mm-hmm.
I do know Shaywell's teammate Anderson has popped as well. He's more of a quick guy, a lateral guy, a lot of east-west guy. Maybe they could use him as a third back. But I think if you're prioritizing roster positions, you got to look at guys that can do multiple things. Play special teams, possibly have to play the H-back role, maybe the fullback, and at times, if need be, in emergency, can you carry the rock a few times? And I think the Shaywell, is that how you say it?
Yeah, Shaywell.
Shaywell, yeah, it's always tough for me to pronounce his name. I think he can do a lot of that. So, if I had to guess, I think they'll go with Zeke, TP, and Shaywell, and that's that.
Yeah, that's where I'm thinking this thing goes as well. I don't know if they carry that, that other running back, but for Rico, I think no preseason games. I think this is one of those areas that might be like collateral damage of just not enough time, not enough snaps, but
no preseason.
No preseason, but for his part, look, I really followed him coming in here as an undrafted free agent. Dane Brugler said that if he could get over the injury bug, and that's really what kind of hampered his career, there at South Carolina. If he could get over that, he could be somebody for somebody. So, and right now he's held up in training camp. So we'll keep an eye on it. I hope we can sneak him onto the practice squad if that's where the career arc is going. But definitely a name to keep an eye on for sure. Marvel and Group. Wink Marvel, man. Very loyal subscriber to our channels, both of them. We see him tagging us in Twitter. Great conversation. Appreciate you.
Great conversation.
Yeah, Joe, it's Wink Mar. We know. We know, brother. We know. Based on week 1, though, who are the starting cornerbacks, guy?
Based off what we're hearing out of camp, I think you got to go Awuzie, Worley, and Brown. I know a lot of people don't want to hear the Brown thing, but I've been trying to prepare you guys for Brown playing the slot. I wanted to bring this up earlier and it just slipped my mind. Jordan Lewis, this isn't a good time for Jordan Lewis to be injured.
Yeah.
The season starts in 3 weeks. We love Jordan Lewis. We want Jordan Lewis to be the guy, but here he is dinged up during camp. Antonio Brown, my goodness. Anthony Brown is having interceptions, playing well, standing out. Looks like he has that position locked down. he got the 3-year deal. That's kind of what made me believe that he was going to be the guy anyway. As the boundary corners, I always said, because of no preseason, because shortened off season, I think Diggs is going to have to take a little bit of time. So they'll go with the vets. Now, coming into that first camp, remember we saw the defensive lineup was Brown, Woozier, and then Lewis in the slot. I don't think we're going to see that. Just me personally. I don't see them playing Brown out there. I just think they were kind of letting the people who've been here kind of just get the flow going. I think we're going to see Worley. I think we're going to see Woozier, and I think we're going to see Brown.
So you putting Brown at the slot, Sky?
Yes.
Yeah, no, and that's the versatility that you do like with Anthony Brown. So for a lot of the, Jordan Lewis's part battling, it's mainly been Brown there at the slot position. So yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see who they roll out there. Trayvon Diggs, these young cornerbacks, they've already mentioned this before, that this group is taking a little bit more time acclimating because of no minicamp, no preseason, which is understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But any concerns about Trayvon Diggs? Do you think the timetable is going to go a little further out? Like, do you think he makes a move to get into the starting lineup a little bit later now, or do you think it'll happen earlier in the season?
I don't think it's going to take him long, but that doesn't mean it was going to take him 1 week, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is his first.
Yeah.
He's his first time playing against these guys, getting coached up by these guys, getting acclimated to the everyday life of being an NFL player. That, I don't care if you're the number 1 overall pick. That is something to adjust to. You're going up against 2 veteran cornerbacks, a couple veteran wide receivers, and a damn good rookie wide receiver. It's going to be tough on them. I know. Don't be too concerned on Diggs. Diggs has it up here. Diggs has it physically. He's a ball hawk, but he's still a rookie. Like I said, had there been OTAs, rookie mini camps, a real preseason, a real training camp, I think Diggs likely could have played his way onto the starting lineup. But there is none of that. Can you really trust, unless it's what's the cat's name? Okuda? Can you really trust your first round pick, or even second round pick, to come in and play right away with no preseason and 3 weeks of training camp and only like a week of hitting, 2 weeks of hitting? That's tough, man. That is tough to do.
It is very tough, and it's a great point because not only Trayvon Diggs, but you got to think about some of the other guys that were in the mix for the Cowboys' potential pick. Henderson, right, out of Florida, he's going to be in the same boat. Okuda, even Okuda, right, like high pick, for Detroit. Where are they going to be good to go? Are they going to get shell shocked that they're going to be thrown out there immediately because they're expected to be out there day one? I would think, right?
They gotta play. Top 10 picks. It's one of those things where, hey man, your draft pedigree matters right now. You got to play.
Yeah. So
you just lost Darius Slay in Detroit. So
yeah. So that'll be interesting to see how this plays out for a lot of these rookies. For the Cowboys, I think they're in good shape. Like I said, we got depth there. Worley, Brown, these guys. So you don't have to throw them to the wolves quite yet.
Nope. And that's okay, you don't have to do it. Get their feet wet. You got a veteran in Daryl Worley. You got a veteran in Cheeto, Jordan Lewis, Anthony Brown. You got these vets. Let your rookies get their feet up under them and understand how to be a pro, how to play as a pro. There's one thing to be a pro off the field and then play as a pro on the field. Those things that Diggs was doing in college, some of them he cannot do in the pros, and a lot of it is coachable. That's the good thing about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point there, Sky. Shout out to everybody in the chat box as well. Appreciate the super chats. Floyd, appreciate you. Chris Jones hurt all last year. Yeah, so hopefully he's over that injury bug, and we'll see what he does here under this new staff. I think that's going to make a big deal for him.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Lou's ankle. Do we have any update on that, Sky?
High ankle sprain is what they're saying in the chat, which is devastating for him to see a starting role.
That's because high ankle, that's a 4 to 6 week.
He won't be back before the season.
Yeah, so that will have implications for week 1 versus the Rams most likely. And the Rams, they like to mix it up there with their speed, those wide receivers, those guys. So we're gonna have to get that pressure.
It's going to be J. Lou and Cup. That's going, or not J. Lou, Anthony Brown and Cup.
There you go.
People might be off the back pissed off at Anthony Brown, but Cooper Kupp is the problem.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, will Cooper Kupp come out of that injured? This guy's injury prone like crazy. Let's pop him a couple times, right?
Didn't he get hurt real bad last year? Like an ACL or something?
I don't even know, but I just know he's been in and out so many times. I had him on my fantasy league, and I was just like, man, I couldn't rely on him. I was like, this guy's out again. Come on, man, you're killing me.
Yeah, no fantasy, yeah. So Forever DC said he's not sure if it's a high ankle sprain. Yeah, don't take my words. don't take my words all the way to heart. I'm not sure if it's a high ankle sprain. We're kind of speculating here, but we'll definitely dig more and see what's up with. I know it's an ankle. I just don't know how severe it is.
Yeah, definitely ankle. And speaking of ankles, Luka, what the heck, dude? That was nasty last night.
Oh man, that and what the Cat Montrell said to him was nasty as well. So, it's hopefully Luka's okay. I'm a Laker fan though, but I hope Luka's okay because I think he can ball. He's like a modern day Larry, dog.
Dude, he's gonna be a problem in this league for a while. I'm telling you, he's fun to watch.
He is. It's except for when he be at. I don't like when Luka get the whole whine. That bothers me. Stop. I don't know if that's a European thing.
Yeah.
But stop the whine. Now, granted, they all whine, but dude, just come on, man.
Yeah. I kind of noticed that yesterday when he was, they were putting the ice on him. I was like,
a damn good player though.
Yeah, he is. Let's see what else we got here in the chat box. Appreciate everybody here that's joined us live. Yes, Skywalker Steele in the house.
Yes,
Hit like on this video. Hit like on this video. We appreciate you guys.
Smash the like on the video, man.
Smash that like button. Let's see what else we got here in the chat box.
Haley's asking, what's a surprise and who do you think makes the cut? Who goes? That's a surprise. Oh, who goes? That's a surprise. And who do you think makes the cut? Well, making the cut's going to be tough because we don't know who's going to be there. But who do you think goes as a surprise?
As a surprise cut?
Yeah.
Surprise cut. Man, let me see. Surprise cut. Man, that is a tough question because the roster of the Cowboys is really at the point where you're going to lose, some good players, right? Yeah.
We say that every year though, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Could it be Tyron Crawford? I mean, no. Let me see. A surprise cut. I'm gonna go with Devin Smith. I'm gonna say that maybe he doesn't quite make it, and they go a little bit younger. Maybe McCarthy just wants to, churn this
John May Johnson type.
Yeah. So for me, I don't know if it's really a surprise cut, but maybe Devin Smith. Who do you have? Yeah,
I like this one. Joe Jackson, Dalton Schultz, because of Hikatini. If he shows something, Forever said Sean Lee. Now, yes, that would be a hell of a surprise. It's tough right now. It's tough to think of a surprise cut. Give me like one more week to give me a real definite pick for a surprise cut.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Does Tyron Crawford take a pay cut?
No.
Yeah.
They would have been one and did that, right? I think they would have did that. And I think they talked about it earlier in the offseason, but hell, they just got Tyron Smith to restructure. But I look at it this way. Just go ahead and just let it ride with Tyron Crawford. He's on a 1-year deal. Just don't let anything get messy. Maybe protect yourself. Maybe restructure the deal to protect yourself because he got them hips. But it's a 1-year deal, man. Just let them play it out and we can move on.
Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna do. I think that's well said. Now, if you do want to create some room to add somebody, let's say you do want to make a play for another free agent, you do have the option like a Zach Martin type of a guy that is gonna be here. You want to look at those types of contracts, right? So maybe Zach Martin might be a candidate for a restructure. If they want to make a move or trade for somebody, you can still make space. Yeah. The whole cap hell thing, even for 2021.
We're not in cap hell. We're in great shape. Because we have most of our top guys signed.
Yeah, we're in great shape. So, and you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it. I promise you guys, you're gonna see it from some of these haters or guys that get bored in the offseason that we're gonna be in cap hell. We're not gonna be in cap hell.
You've already said it.
Yeah, we're gonna be good. Sky, here we got him from Cowboys Abroad. Appreciate you. Chris Westry, Sky, doing anything? Have you heard anything? I haven't myself. Have you heard anything or seen anything on?
I haven't heard it, but man, listen. I'm the type of guy on Madden who I would play with Chris Westry just so he can get his stats up, get his overall up, because 6'4", 435, that's fun. I want to see what he can do out there, but I'm also realistic. Dude's not making the team this year. He's such a project. He's smaller, a thinner guy. He's not as physical. He's got to get in the weight room more. He's going to need to probably see the practice squad, but I hope they don't cut him. In the sense of, I hope they don't give up on him. I hope he comes back on the practice squad, but I haven't heard anything about Chris Westry standing out. He's got a huge road in front of him with Robinson, Worley, Awuzie, Lewis, Brown, Diggs. I just can't see it right now. And even Kennedy's going now, right? Savion Smith, right? I mean, all those guys are in front of him, so he's got a long road.
Yeah, tough uphill battle for sure. So here's a great one from the Lunatic. What's more likely, Zeke leading rusher or CD offensive rookie of the year?
Let me tell you something. I love it. Lunatic hit us with that dangerous lamb. Oh man, hey yo, you got to make a shirt. Everybody make it a dangerous lamb. That's just amazing. That's good stuff.
That is catchy.
I heard him earlier say Blake Jar Winning. I'm like, man, you just come up with these names. Blake Jar Winning.
We need it. We need him to be that for sure.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. So more likely, Zeke leading rusher or CeeDee Lamb rookie of the year. I'm going to go with Zeke leading rusher, because CeeDee Lamb. And here's the thing: I don't want people to think that Lamb needs to have a 90 catch, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdown year to be worth it. He doesn't. If CeeDee Lamb has what's his name have a same year, the same exact year Cobb had, which you can do better. It's a productive and very good first year. 50 some catches or something like that, 63 catches, 800 yards, should have had like 5 touchdowns. We're good, but that's not going to win offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, offensive rookie of the year is going to be just one of these guys.
Quarterback or something. Joe Burrow.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Burrow, because, I mean, you got to think that it's going to be one of those high-end guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of those high offensive picks.
Running back from the Saints, from the Chiefs. What is it, Clyde?
Clyde Hilaire.
Yes.
That guy, man, just when I saw the Chiefs draft him, I was like, these guys are just adding to the abundance, man, the riches that they have. It's like, you guys got this guy.
Yeah, and late in the damn draft. But then again, it was kind of right where most of the running backs nowadays are going. They're going late first, early second. It's hard to take a back high end. Now, Christian McCaffrey's a different cat. Gurley, the Zeeks, they're just different cats. Clyde is very good, but now he's going to this situation. Oh, he's automatically gets bumped up. And Damian Williams, gone because he opted out. So Fantasy Joe, I'm putting him on my list. I'm going to draft him before you. I'm just saying that.
Speaking of fantasy, and we'll hit on this because this is a great way to dovetail into this conversation. Vach Lombardi, fellow brother here, Cowboys content creator, great. All you guys know Vach, right? So he's got this league going for us now, content creators. What's your strategy? I'm not giving you my strategy.
What Joe is saying though is Vach came up with this. I mean, it's a brilliant idea to host a fantasy football league with with a lot of the Cowboys content creators. And I'm talking about, like Joe Rye, myself, Vach, Foots, Okoye, Mark, Shango, my Cowboys family, Big Game James, Law Nation, and Jeff Kavanaugh. It is a loaded roster of Cowboy content creators, and I cannot wait. We were talking about it off air. I really hope somebody streams the draft because it's gonna be a whole lot of shit talking.
Dude, I can't wait, man. When I got that, I got the DM from Vach. He's like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this league for content creators, Cowboys content creators." Hey, dude, I'm down. I'm not even blinking at this. Let's rock. Let's roll, baby.
As soon as he said it, I said, "Oh, I'm in." Like, just count me in. I love fantasy. This is the last league I'm getting in because I can't do too many because I don't got to tell you as content creators, it's almost like you're doing something every day.
Yeah,
man, you're trying to make sure you stay ahead of the game, make sure you're up to date. You're giving your subscribers the current news and what have you, and and quality takes. So it's time consuming. So being in too many fantasy leagues right now for me, I can't do, but I'm in 3 and that's it. I'm done.
Yeah. The same deal, man. I always say 4 is my cutoff. I wish I could stay at 3, but I always get they
Or
keep
last year.
pulling me back in. You know what I'm saying?
It's too much, Joe, man. Like I was in 4 last year, dude. In my ESPN league, I just was like, listen, man, that's gonna be the one I'm gonna just have to cough up because I couldn't keep up. I couldn't keep up with all of them. I was too busy doing all this stuff, but I can't wait for this one, man. This is going to be fun. I really hope we are streaming that draft. And I think we should do we should all kind of, week to week, whoever we're playing, just like a little 30-minute live stream or recorded show where we're kind of talking about strategies and what's going on with the players and things like that. There can be some great content coming out of this.
Oh, dude, yeah. We do need to do that as a group. We need to get in a group chat or something and hash that out because that is a great idea.
Mhm.
I love that. But yeah, man, you guys expect some more content. We'll try to get that out there. Fantasy football. I think that's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be dope, man.
Shout out to Vach. T-Mac 1906, Sky. Tyler Biadasz start by the end of the year. What's your thoughts on Biadasz here?
See, Biadasz healthy, I think, is going to be our center of the future. But again, this COVID thing is besides CD Lamb, I really can't see any, rookie starting early. But T-Mac's question is by the end of the year. That is all up to Joe Looney, right? If Joe Looney is playing, good enough, then no, Tyler's not going to start. But if Joe Looney is just okay and they see, a possibility that Tyler Biadasz can come in and improve the line, then you'll see him. But the things that I'm hearing around camp is that, Biadasz and McGovern are not getting too many reps, and that could be because the veterans need as many as they can get with the season literally 3 weeks away. So
yeah. And that's something that we've all kind of foreshadowed. I think all of our channels have covered that. Don't be surprised if these guys are starting, but maybe eventually they do, crack into the starting lineup. But yeah, Biadasz, I think definitely is the future. I'm not even doubting that for sure. But for this year, yeah, this COVID thing just jacking everybody's roster up. Let's see what else we got here in the chat box. Everybody, appreciate all the comments and questions. Shout out to all you guys. Let me see what we got here. What's popping off here?
Oh, they deep up in here. I just got back in to see how many is up in here. Shout out to y'all. Y'all deep up in this thing.
Yeah, y'all are doing great out here with the questions. Biadasz, got some Biadasz.
Talking about Forever said the O-line is about chemistry. Yeah, that's another reason why, Joe has chemistry, and Cowboys execution said we made the playoffs with Joe Looney.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Forever DC with the follow-up. Who do you think the starting lineup will be on the offensive line? So, for sure you got Tyron Smith, your left tackle. Left guard, I think, is also, I think, going to be Connor Williams. I think I'm going to roll with him just because of the same kind of issue. I don't know if McGovern is doing enough to push. And Joe Looney at center, right guard, the Gob, Zach Martin, and Lyle Collins at right tackle. Sky, what's your thoughts?
That's pretty much the starting lineup. I mean, realistically, like if we're being real about our team, that's it. I mean, we can want Tyler Biadasz to be the center. We can want McGovern to eventually take over, but I don't think it's enough time for that to happen right now. And they make a great point in the comment section. It's about chemistry, and those guys have played with each other literally. So I think that's what we're going to see, at least to start off for a while. Yeah,
for sure. I know coming into this, before all this COVID just really went crazy, I was thinking, okay, here McGovern, not Biadasz, but yeah, this thing it's just reality. It's what we're dealing with this year. But the thing is, I do like that. I can't say I like this, but we know that Connor Williams kind of gets dinged up. He's kind of getting a little bit of that injury-prone tag a little bit. He's getting a little bit dinged up the last couple seasons.
Couple years, yeah.
It's not out the realm that we could see McGovern, come in at some point in place of injury. So we'll see.
I think you want McGovern to look decent and Biadasz because if need be, if Connor Williams goes down, maybe you slide Joe Looney over and put Biadasz at center because Joe is a utility guy.
Yeah. 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 So, the talk in there on fantasy football, I think that's going to be fun. I love that idea from Sky. We got to get that going.
Hey, man.
The lunatic, what is going on with Goodell? Okay. What the hell is Goodell waiting on to reinstate Randy Gregory?
I mean, where's a star on his head, Joe?
That's what it is. And I've been saying this on my channel. The Maras are whispering in Goodell's ear. I'm telling you, these guys are up to something as
Got it
well.
out.
Yeah, so they
It's
have it. Yeah, it is, man.
It's
They
frustrating.
have his ear, right? So we've seen them kind of meddle before with these kind of sanctions against the Cowboys and the Redskins. The Maras, they're gonna dig at you whenever they get the opportunity. So
I can't quite understand this whole situation when guys like Josh Gordon have got multiple chances.
yeah,
Hell, Antonio Brown could be signed right now. He's not
yeah,
banned from the league. He's just suspended. I don't understand what is going on, but I'm gonna take what our guy Pat Walker said when he came on the show. He said he believes he will be playing. It's just a matter of the NFL and NFLPA kind of prioritizing other things right now. But we saw Randy. Randy came out and exposed his rep. They're not doing enough for him.
yeah. That's a sad situation, bro. Like I just want him back in the league, dude. And it seems like they're just giving too many excuses, dragging their feet.
My boy, the Cowboys Network up in here. He said, "Did you guys hear about the 5-2 look, 3 pass rushers and 2 DTs? Griffin and Alden Smith on the right side, Tank on the left, Woods and Crawford inside." Ooh, that is interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's the hybrid, right? That's a little bit of that hybrid thing that we're talking about. So, I didn't hear it myself, but I wouldn't be surprised if they roll that out.
Damn, that's a hell of a. You're getting to the quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, you're getting to the quarterback, dog. Let me read this again. Griffin and Alden Smith on the right side, rushing, and then Tank on the left, but the Woods and Crawford would prefer Poe and Crawford. I would prefer. I think Poe is an underrated pass rusher. Granted, he don't got a whole lot of moves, but he's just so damn strong, Joe, that he can get in the back, and he's athletic enough, man. He had this one rush. I think it was against the Jaguars or it was against the Titans. He had an amazing rush or with some athletic ability at where he finished at the quarterback. So just because he's 6'3", 340, 350, don't mean he ain't got no athleticism to him. My man ran like a 4.7, so I love that look.
I think Poe is going to be one of the more underrated signings for the Cowboys. I like his size, and he's going to really open up these lanes for the linebackers. Jalen Smith, obviously roaming around, and the Wolf Hunter. I think these lanes keep these guys clean, and that's really where they're going to excel. The days of getting blown up at the second level, I think it's not going to happen as much. I mean, last year was brutal, bro. I don't even know how Jalen made it through that entire season. That crap.
Yeah, they were getting to the second level with ease, man. And we know, Jalen and LVE aren't the best with dealing with the trash in the middle. I'm not saying they can't do it, but they're not as good with it consistently as say Sean Lee used to be, or say who's the cat that retired in Carolina, Luke Kuechly.
Yeah,
Luke Kuechly and the Willises of the worlds and the Urlachers, right? They're not there.
Yeah,
to
that's
deal with
facts.
trash.
That is facts, man. That is truth. That is absolute truth. Or like a Bernardrick McKinney from the Texans. I love
Big
that,
boy.
bro.
That's a big boy.
That's a big boy, man. I wanted the Cowboys to get him so bad. I was even throwing out the fire like, let's make a trade for this guy. The Texans are losing their mind, giving away these players for cheap. Let's poke their eyes out.
True. Didn't he just get an extension though?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he got paid.
I mean, rightfully so. I think we're good though, where we're at with our top two. I think Jalen and LVE are going to have a bounce back year, because they got big boys in front of them. Be nice though if they wouldn't got that guy that likes to eat snacks, but yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm gonna keep saying it, Joe. I'm gonna keep saying it.
I know. If you say it, sometimes it can happen, right? Let's speak it into existence, as I said. Chris Perez, who y'all got? Luke, Gifford, or Bernard? I'm saying both. Okay, what you got? Sky.
It's a good one. Because Bernard could push off March, but if I had to pick between the two, I'm going with Luke. I mean, granted, we only seen so much of him, but everything coming out of what we heard about Luke Gifford last year and then what we saw in that preseason, I mean, you can't tell me this guy doesn't have a high ceiling, man. I'm not saying Pro Bowl. I always say that, but at least to make this team and be a really good role player.
No, yeah, for sure, man. I think you're in a great place there with Gifford. The Lunatic. Appreciate the love, bro. Like the content, subscribe, and check out both Cowboys blog and Dallas Cowboys Universe memberships. Thanks, the Lunatic. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate that, man.
The loyalty from these guys, it's
awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
It's awesome, man. I'm going to do a giveaway with some stuff that Lunatic has sent, man. So yeah, he's great.
That's a bad boy. Talking about Tyron Crawford and that Florida brawl. I mean, yeah, when Jared talked about this, I mean, it's kind of funny, but you know,
when he got thrown out or something and he was fighting a security guard.
Yeah, he was just throwing people around like rag dolls. That guy's got some crazy power, bro.
Yeah, he was 6'5", about 300 almost. So that ain't no little dude.
That's not somebody I would want to mess with, bro.
Nah, somebody you want in your corner in a dark alley.
That's what it is. And where did we hear that story from? I think he himself talked about it, or one of his teammates, right? Where he backed up his boys and they got all cut up and beat up, but he rolled with them. So, I mean, if you want somebody in your corner who's going to roll with you.
I tell you what, remember when that Dallas Goddard got sucker punched? The Eagles? I don't know if you've seen that, but
yeah, that was brutal.
I bet you that ain't happening on Tyron Crawford's watch.
No way. No way, bro. Let's see what else we got here. I think that's about it, guys. I think we covered a whole lot here. Appreciate everybody in the comments hitting the 2-hour mark here. But yeah, appreciate everybody, all the super chats. And a pick and pop. Appreciate you joining the membership. Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate that.
He be in there. He be in all the Dallas Cowboys community. Come in there, pick and pop right out.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. But yeah, man. Sky, let these guys know where they can find you if they haven't already, which I'll be shocked by now. But let them know, man, if they haven't yet. Where can they find you at, Sky?
Right here on YouTube, man. I'm trying to get to uploading daily content. If not daily, at least every other day. You can find me at Dallas Cowboys Universe. And if you do type in Skywalker Steele, Dallas Cowboys Universe will pop up as well. So you can type in either. But like I said, the rebrand is here. It's live. It's in effect, because here's how I believe it. We're not just a Cowboys nation anymore, man. We're universal. We're universal. We're the biggest, largest fan base in the world, Craig. The biggest, largest fan base, man. So you can find me there, Dallas Cowboys Universe, on YouTube, on Twitter. Type in Skywalker Steele. You can find me. But my handle is actually @BecauseCowboys. And you know what, though? I got to consolidate. One of my guys said, he came to me. He was like, Sky, you got too many damn names. Because I'm @Because Cowboys on Twitter. I'm Skywalker Steele on IG. And on YouTube here, I'm Dallas Cowboys Universe. So I'm going to consolidate at some point. But that's where you can find me, man. And Joe, I really appreciate you inviting me on, dog. We got to do this again, man. This was awesome, brother.
Yeah, man. Shout out to you, bro. I see you as a definitely up and comer for sure. Late night hype. I love what you guys do out there with Law, and shout out to Big Game James, man.
Yeah.
We've all worked with each other, and I finally got to work one-on-one here with Skywalker. So appreciate you, bro. And you just bring a great talent. You bring a good, buzz to the group. Cowboys content creator. We all have our little,
our own little niche.
Our own niche, right? Our own little things that really bring in the subscribers, and appreciate you, man. So yeah, we'll definitely link up again. Let's get the fantasy football.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Let's get into that, man. That's gonna be fun.
That just reminded me, one of the guys that's in the league, Jeff Kavanaugh. If you guys want to check us out tomorrow, I'll have Jeff on the show. We're going to be talking wide receivers and probably a little bit more. So check me out tomorrow with Jeff. Me and him are going to chop it up. And then, like you said, the late night hype is every Tuesday. We try to go Tuesdays about 9:00 Eastern. Joe's always up in the chat. Should be a fun one. We're looking to get Kyle Yeomans in there. Actually, I'm sorry, guys. Let me rephrase that. Wednesday. It's been moved to Wednesday. This is kind of breaking news, actually. Wednesday, Kyle Yeomans, the insider down at Dallas, will be in there, and he's giving. I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, bro. Kyle is giving us great details.
Yes. Kyle Yeomans is great, bro. Like, I know he's kind of one of the newer guys into the group, but dude, I love him. I I have a lot of his tweets and in my reports. Like he's got really great nuggets that other guys are not reporting. You know, some of the beat writers don't have the nuggets that he's given. So yeah, that's gonna be great, man. Check that show out, man. I'll be checking out Kavanaugh. I love Kavanaugh. I think he's great too, man. He's a fun dude, man. Yeah. But that's it, guys. Appreciate all you. If you haven't already, hit like on this video before you head out. If you catch it on the replay, hit like, subscribe, and share. And I'll catch you for the next report, guys. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.